Let's do this. Get ready for the Dirt Life Show.
Yeah, welcome. Monday night, the Dirt Life Show. Thank you guys very much for joining us. We have an awesome show for you guys tonight at a special place. Today we are at Ryan Beats Shop in Temecula, California. We even got some action going on in the back, and we have our featured guest tonight, off-road champion, dirt bike racer extraordinaire, Ryan Beat with us. What's up, bud?
What's going on? Thanks for having me, man, and glad I got to have you guys at my shop.
Dude, it's pretty cool. So we talked a little bit about it before the show. Like we'll get into it a little bit more, but you have so much stuff going on. It's insane, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I've told some people, what all we got going on. They kind of look at me and like, I don't know if it's disbelief, but just like, there's no way that much is going on. And
dude, it really is though.
That's why everybody's still here. I mean, it's 5 o'clock and we're still grinding.
Yeah.
So that's a usual daily average thing for us. The past probably 2-3 months, we've been here from 7 a.m. till probably 7 at night.
Dude, he just had all of his. He did a wardrobe change right before the show. He just had all his work clothes on. Changes all professional. Gets on the Dirt Life Show with us. So I really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us, hang out with the audience, and hopefully we'll get some questions in for you. I know that we had some questions come through social media, so it'll be cool.
Cool, man. Yeah, no, I'm excited to be here and have some fun. It's not often that we get to take the time to connect with fans and get to hang out and chat.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, well, let's get through some of the show stuff. We're going to thank all of our sponsors right off the bat, man, just because they're the ones that make it happen for us. I really want to thank all the guys at KMC Wheels. Used to be a partner of Ryan's back in the day before he turned a Vision athlete. But thank you very much to Ryan Edwards and all the guys at KMC Wheels. Ryan Guidus over at EFX Tires. Justin Smith from Shock Therapy. We want to thank him for being a sponsor. He's also going to call in today as well. We're going to talk a little bit about the Parker 250. Maybe we'll get your opinion on some of the desert racing stuff.
Yeah.
And, so thanks to those guys over at Shock Therapy. You can always use the code DIRTLIFE on their website, and you can save a whole bunch of money. You can give them a call, talk to any of the guys up front, and tell them that Dirt Life sent you. Save a bunch of money getting your car all dialed in, your suspension, steering racks, all that good stuff. And thank you guys, thank you to the guys at ZollingerRacingProducts.com. They make so much cool stuff. Like walking in a shop like Ryan Beats, everything over here is next level, right? They're building next level products. They're making next level trucks. Well, the guys at Zollinger Racing Products, they're doing the same thing for your UTV. So go over there and purchase some of their products and, use the code DIRTLIFE. Give us a little bit of credit and save yourself a whole bunch of money. And thank you very much to the guys over at Solderweld for being a partner of the show since day one. We really appreciate it. And CryoHeat. CryoHeat jumped on board. Have you seen some of the stuff that CryoHeat does?
I do. I've been a big fan of it for a while now. We haven't got a chance to really work together. I worked with them back when I first got started in this R1 UTV stuff.
Yeah.
But as we've moved up, just certain constraints amongst contracts haven't allowed us to work together again.
Yeah.
But he does great stuff.
Dude, yeah. Josh is an awesome guy over there at CryoHeat. In fact, I get to have lunch with him on Wednesday, so looking forward to that.
Nice.
So thank you to all of our sponsors. We really appreciate it. And then, of course, thank you to everybody that's listening to the show. You guys are our lifeblood. We couldn't appreciate it more. Looks like we already have some stuff coming in. Love that shop. Yeah, Jimmy. It's a pretty badass shop, man. I wish you guys could see some more of it. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the other stuff that's going on in the shop. We'll pan over to a couple different views so that you guys can see it. This is a little bit more of a wide-angle view. You can see some of the stuff that's happening in the background. Ryan has all his crew working on some of this stuff. Man, some of these toolboxes are pretty bitchin' too. Huh?
Yeah, no, they're cool. It's a must deal. When we go to the races, we need toolboxes that we can roll in and out of the shop and have all the tools in it at all times, and workbenches on top so they work out perfect.
Dude, it's super cool, man. One of the things that I wanted to talk about today, like a subject I want to talk about, was like you're doing a good job at it, and we can get into it more, but like there's really no off-road teams like how Moto is.
Yeah.
There's no like teams, right? There's groups of people, but you're starting to do that. I love that forward thinking.
Yeah, it's just different. My background's moto and coming from motocross and supercross. You want to do something, and I think that I think a lot of people miss the boat on the fact that it's an effective way to do things. You can divide costs amongst multiple programs. So it brings really the operational cost per vehicle down quite a bit when you can add multiple vehicles to a team.
Not only that, but it also puts more people on the track that are your vehicles.
Absolutely. You get more people on the track with your vehicles, and then as well, it's better for the sport. We're bringing in new guys into the sport each and every year, and people, wanting to be a part of off-road, so we're kind of leading edge team, I guess you could call it, as far as, people that are wanting to get involved in the sport and then come to a first class, grade A team.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said right then, just helping people, right?
Yeah.
So I want to show you guys a couple other angles that we got. We'll get into these. This is a pretty good picture of, the Pro 2, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So is that your current race truck?
Yeah, that's my current race truck.
That thing's pretty sweet, man. So we're going to talk about all that stuff tonight. We're going to talk about a couple other subjects, man. So we got Justin Smith. Like I said, he's going to call in, I don't know, probably in 10 minutes or so. And we also got one of your buddies, dude. We'll call him one of your buddies. One of your race rivals, Jerett Brooks, is going to call in and talk about some battles and stuff that he's had with you over the years.
Yeah, we've always had a good time racing each other. We've luckily never had nothing real bad, happen to where we're not friends, but we're definitely good buds.
I should have called one of the guys that was like your total arch enemy. I don't think you really have it, even though you got the nickname Rowdy, and we can actually talk about that. I don't think you really have any like enemies, do you?
No, I don't think so. I think I've tried to keep it really professional and really good, and you never know. You get into something with somebody one day, they might be in a position to really screw you the next day.
All of a sudden, they just stick to that negative the whole time?
Yeah, so, funny story. I think probably the biggest one I probably had the most blowouts with was probably Sheldon Creed coming up through Pro Lights. And we look back now and we laugh about it. We hang out quite a bit and talk, shit 2-3 times a week, on the phone. We're good buds now, but back in the day it was pretty heated. We had definitely some good battles and some door slamming and banging going on.
Dude,
for sure.
I love that, and our audience can totally get along with this though. Is like once you put that helmet on, it changes everything, right? Like,
well, yeah, obviously, first and foremost, it's ego. All of us want to win and do good and be the best in King Kong, but besides that, it's a place to make a living. This is our job, or for a lot of us, and this is how we feed our kids and our families. And provide for the people that work for us. They have families and kids too, and when you're on that track, that all comes into consideration. The more the more results you get and the better results you get, the better everybody, the better everybody's life is.
The whole team accelerates,
everybody
right?
accelerates and everybody gains from it. So,
hey, we already had a comment come in. Roy Vaughn the third said, or the second, the third said, first time listener, long time Rowdy, beat super fan since 2012, a former RBM employee. So.
Yeah, so Roy was the first guy that ever worked for me that came and helped me get this thing off the ground. Yeah,
dude, he's saying back since 2012.
Yeah,
so
my very first year in Pro Lights. So Roy was the one that actually gave me the nickname Rowdy Beat. So
really?
Yeah, yep. We
were. We got to have Roy tell us how that happened. Tell us how that story happened.
Yeah, no, I'd love for him to tell us how it happened because it's a good story. It's fun.
Nice. All right, yeah, and David Peace commented in saying, Beats are in the house. Yeah, well, actually, we're in his house, man. So you guys get to hang out with us in his house today. It's not often that we get to do this. You see people at the races, and you see him at events and stuff. You think, oh man, I know Ryan Beat. He talks to me, but now we really get to get the inside of what Ryan Beat's all about. So
absolutely,
it'll be pretty cool to do it in his own shop too. So. And one of your buddies, Alex Striler, is going to call in around 6 o'clock tonight.
Nice, yeah. Alex is a great mentor, if you will. He's he's done a lot of stuff in motorsports marketing and sponsorship, and has a great package and program actually now on his website that you can go to and basically. I think it's free right now. You can go on there and take a course on how to get sponsors and what the correct way of going about doing it is. So
it's super
pretty cool.
And that's how you and I got lined up, actually, because he was on, I think, episode 71, a couple episodes ago about marketing and sponsorship and stuff like that. And you were able to give a lot of insight, and it was really cool because it intrigued me to be able to get you on the show. Yeah,
no, he's, like I said, he's been like a great mentor to me, and we shoot ideas off each other all the time, bounce, strategies back and forth. And it's been great working with him,
How crucial is that, though? Or how cool is it at the same time that you get to bounce ideas, like professional ideas, off somebody that cool? Like you're just talking shop, basically, but you're talking at a whole new level to help the whole team and the organization.
Yeah, exactly. When you get on a level like that with somebody and you can have those types of conversations, somebody you can trust, because right now, sponsorship's hard in the world, and there's a lot of people that are super dirty about it, obviously, and they try to, steal sponsorship out from underneath each other and backdoor each other. But Alex has been a really cool partner, friend, mentor, like I said, of mine, that we've bounced ideas off each other and tried to work together and try to make things happen, right? Because at the end of the day, it's all about growing the sport and growing what we can build and do within the sport. And make the sport as badass as what we know it can be.
Dude, I couldn't agree more. And Alex does have a lot of good stuff to say, too. So, well, we're going to talk about the Parker 250 a little bit with Justin Smith from Shock Therapy, but have you done any desert racing?
I've done one desert race in my life, and
What
it was
was it?
Vegas to Reno. It was in a side-by-side.
Dude, really?
Yeah, so it was a couple years ago.
What kind of side-by-side?
It was a Polaris. It was a Polaris Razor. A good buddy of mine, Don Daly, got a car, and we went out and had some fun and started doing really good. We had a car failure at the very end, but we had worked our way up well within the top 10. And we just had a good time, man. It was a blast. I'd love to do some more desert racing, but right now my short course schedule is pretty full and pretty busy.
Just a little bit, helping all these dudes too.
So, but the right opportunity presents itself. I'd love to do it again.
Dude, that would be pretty. What did you think about it when you were riding the UTV out there in the desert? Way different than what you're used to, right?
It's way different than what I was used to. I mean, it was cool. I don't dig racing in dust when you can't
Yeah.
see. I can't stand that. So that was kind of like the one negative downfall to me is like if I want to race, I want to get up and rub elbows, like I want to
Yeah.
I want to battle, I want to get
Supermoto
the elbows
guy,
up.
yep.
Yeah, like I want to get the elbows up and rub and lean and scare the shit out of each other,
Yeah, dude, totally.
I don't want to just race in dust by myself for hours and hours, but so that was my favorite part. It was just trying to run down the next guy and pushing myself so gnarly hard to like run down the next guy to get past
up
the
to him.
dust. Yeah.
Yep.
And then just to get next to him and want to bang bars, like I'm sure some of the guys probably didn't appreciate it, but I wanted to get up there and bang bars,
Dude, bringing the motocross to the desert, that's pretty rad. I only got to race a little bit of a Silver State 300 and then the UTV World Championship, but it wasn't like a real desert race. Craig Scanlon let me borrow his RS1 and I went out there and did it. So that was pretty cool, but it was real dusty, dude.
Yeah.
So I was the same mentality as you, like, see if I could catch another dude, or like in this case, like I was kind of salvaging a little bit of myself, so I wanted to make sure nobody caught me. I wanted to make sure I was taking pro lines and stuff. Like it was really cool to see, but it's nothing like short course. It's a completely different animal.
Totally different animal, and mad respect to all the guys that do it and compete on a daily basis or weekly basis. But for me, it was cool. It was something that I definitely like to do again, but I definitely wouldn't ever leave my roots of short course to go do that full time.
Yeah, exactly. And then you got the pro too, the pro light, all that stuff. So it's I mean that's a feat in itself just to have that program going. It looks like we missed Justin, so we'll give him a buzz here real quick and say hi to him. That Parker 250 race was pretty gnarly, man. Like you talk about dust, like there was so much dust, dude. It was crazy. Justin Smith, we got you on, bud?
Oh, hello, George. How are you?
Doing awesome. How are you? You got Ryan Beat on the line with us, too.
How's it going, man?
How's it going, Ryan?
Good.
So we were just talking a little bit about desert racing in general, I guess kind of like the Parker 250, but Ryan was as a short course, well, he's an expert, but he was telling us how he doesn't like doing dust racing, like just following dust the whole time, and I couldn't agree more. But, man, the Parker 250 was full of dust.
Dude, we were doing some math the other day. It was a 61-mile loop, and they had over 200 UTV entries.
Yeah.
So that's 2.5 cars per mile, every single mile on the course at all times.
You can't see him, Justin, but he's like waving his hand no and giving like that ugly smile like, nah, we're not doing it, man.
We're good.
Well, short course and then going in the dust, that would suck. But I do desert, and I still hate dust, bro. It sucks. It's hard. It really is, and I'm not good at it. Who's really good at it is Mitch Guthrie and Dustin Jones.
Dustin Jones can
and
X-ray see through dust. Oh, is he?
Oh, good God! I thought a small story. Parker last year. In the flat graded stuff that you're supposed to be doing 80, 90, 100 mile an hour in. I'm in the dust. I'm doing the best I can at 70. I have no clue what's coming up. It's 100% dirt. And I think I'm doing okay in the dust. Dustin gives me the beep, beep, bye, flies by at 10 mile an hour through the dust. Same exact dust I'm looking at. He goes right through it head first.
Like X-ray vision, huh?
I want to know what he's got. I don't know what it is, but it's definitely superhuman, maybe Superman vision, something like that.
So maybe someone can answer
he's
this.
so freaking cool. He could have it.
For me, is that just pre-running and knowing where you're at? You know.
So Dustin actually said he kind of gave away his secret a little bit, like just like half the secret on the show when we had him on last year, and he said that he looks for landmarks when he pre-runs. And he tries to commit those to memory so that he can see those landmarks. So if he
knows where he's at.
Yeah, so if he sees like one tree, he knows that in the next 3 miles he's going to have these different
options.
Yeah. So, but like most of it, like me, ADD, I can't remember shit like that. So I don't know if Justin, I don't know if you can.
Yeah, no,
I'll tell you. So I've got most of the Parker course about as memorized as I could possibly do it, and I still, when you're in a canyon and it's rutted left, right stuff, it's just nonstop. I don't know how far away that turn is. I know it's coming. I know that that's like a 30-degree right coming up. But I don't know in the dust if it's in the next 5 feet or the next 50 feet.
Yeah.
And so you just don't know when to turn in, and it could be a boulder a little early. I'll give you what I have learned on the advice side of things when it comes to dust. The bigger the GPS, the faster the refresh rate, the better.
Yeah.
And because if you're running on a 5 or 7 inch GPS, it's not that detailed when you zoom in. If you can possibly throw, a ridiculous $2,000 or $3,000 10 or 12 inch one in there, then when you zoom in, the detail is higher, and the newer ones are a faster refresh rate. So if you're blind, you can zoom in on a big GPS and you can see that it literally is a 10-degree right when it is, instead of guessing. So that's a huge advantage. And we don't have that in any of our cars, but the new race car does.
Oh, right on. And that's what you could have used then, dude, when you were going from Vegas to Reno, huh?
Yeah, it was gnarly for sure. But
so Ryan has actually done the Vegas to Reno race, Justin, which is pretty impressive. He did it in UTV as well.
Well, talk about silty. And, that if it's not windy, then you're going to eat that forever. It's really bad. Vegas, anything in northern Nevada, it's horrible silt and dust, and it just sucks.
And you guys got to do that first this year because you're going backwards on the track.
Well, it's actually not that dusty up in Reno. We're going to end up with the most dust at night coming down into Nevada this year.
Ooh, great.
And so that might be twice as hard because nighttime dust is worse than daytime.
Yeah.
Dude, exactly. Well, we could talk about the technical stuff about driving like that because I have a bunch of questions for Ryan. But let's talk about your race at the Parker 250 because, man, you guys did such a fantastic job and crossed the finish line first.
We had a really fortunate race, very little breakage, and it just kind of came together for us. But before I go into that, I want to address something that a lot of people have been kind of giving us crap about.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people in the industry or in the racing stuff think that we entered our new race car in the rally class. And then they're upset that we went down and did that. That is not true at all. Our new race car was
is that really something? Like, are you being serious? Because
your race car was getting a ton of crap.
Your race car was still on the bench when I saw it on 2 days or a day before the race.
Yeah. So we kind of abandoned the race car 3 days before the race when we knew that it wasn't going to get done. So we turned around and we put fuel and new tires on the pre-runner and made sure that the radio frequencies were good and entered it. And that's basic. I think a lot of people think that we went down into the rally class with our new race car and raced it, and that is not true. We did not have our race car done. It's still actually not running. It will be at the end of the week, and then we start testing it. But we used the only car that we had that was running. It was their pre-runner from the 1000, and the only class that's legal in with a stock tank and doors is rally. So we entered in that and ran our pre-runner, and that's basically what we did. Number one, because we had to. We would have entered the pre-runner in the Pro Turbo class if they would have let us. But that's not something that they do. And I think a lot of people are upset that we went down and won, maybe with our full-tilt car, and that's not the case. So I just want everybody to know we ran our pre-runners. Get over it.
That sucks, man. Ryan can attest to this. Whenever somebody is either a keyboard warrior or what do you want to call it? Loudmouth, we'll say. They can always have their opinion, right? But they don't ever know the real story usually.
Yeah, and that's the hard part, like it's a big part of the reason I probably don't participate in social media as much as I should, because there's always somebody with their opinion, and their idea of they think how it goes or how it should go or, how they think rules should be. But at the end of the day, all that matters is going out and doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Going out and proving it. And 90% of the time, the people that are running their mouths are the ones that aren't doing it. You hardly ever see the guys that are successful or actually doing it running their mouths.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how often do you run your mouth? Never.
I mean, when it's fun time for sure.
Ryan, I think you got a really good point there. And another thing that somebody's told me in the past is that, usually haters only know one thing, and that's to hate. That's all they got. And
Yep.
if they spend their time doing that, they're not spending their time making anything else better. So their race program's not going to get better. They're not going to get faster as long as they're acting like that. So let them do it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Ryan actually was talking about this kind of at the beginning of the show. Like, he helps out other drivers and he builds trucks for other people, and he wants to see the sport grow.
Yeah, like first thing that obviously people are we getting the same equipment that you get or had, and it's absolutely if you can go out and beat me in the same equipment that I have, more power to you.
Yeah.
I need to get my game up as a driver, you know what I mean? But I'm going to give you every opportunity and every chance to go out and beat me. I want to see you beat me because it elevates me too. So game on,
And you're not going to blow them out on social media.
Yeah, no, dude. Like, that's part of racing. That's why we race. It's called racing, not winning. You know what I mean? When you're the best and you prepare the most, you win. And that's the goal or the glory of winning is being prepared to go out and race.
Hey, Justin, so we had a couple comments that already came in that said, if the car meets the requirements for the class, then you should be able to enter it like anyone else, which is completely true. And they said also, John said, congrats on your win, too.
Well, thank you, John. Appreciate that. And I agree with the class thing. And like I said, if they would have let us run the pre-runner in the turbo class, we would have done that. But, that's what we had available to us. We ran it. I've said a couple times, we love racing no matter what. That's what it boils down to. We love racing. And we're out there to have a good time. If we can be competitive, then that's a bonus for us. We're not a pro pay team. We do this to test parts and have a great time with everybody. So, if I have to enter a bone stock from the dealer showroom floor car in stock class, if that's the only option for us that race, and that's what we're going to do every time. So.
100%. And Ryan actually talked about this actually before you came on the show too. Is you guys had already planned to go to that race, whether the new desert car was finished or not. So if it was finished, you had all your staff and everybody going, and your family and everybody going to the races, and you didn't want to just cancel everything because then you would have been out a whole bunch of resources. So
yeah, great point. And that's a huge factor because we have so much family. And so many friends that really that take off they take, work days, Thursday, Friday, work day for half the people that were there. They have that off already. They're going, and we're not going to just go and hang out, although that would be a ton of fun and definitely more drinking. But we're going to go no matter what. So let's find something to race, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's cool. I know you had your brother in the passenger seat too, right?
Yeah, that's kind of like a little bit of a homecoming because we started racing together, 4 or 5 years ago in Baja in XP Razor stuff, non-turbo. We won San Felipe 250, the two of us, a long time ago. So communications there, and worked out great talking about racing in the dust. Jason's really, really good when he sees that we can't see. He zooms in and gets really detailed, and that was really helpful because it was a nonstop passing race for us, and which is one of the reasons why it was so much fun. I hadn't had that much fun in a race in a very, very long time with constantly working towards the next car that we could see or the next dust ahead of us. So.
Dude, that's super cool, especially since you were in an almost stock car instead of your race car.
Yeah, so a lot of us are talking about just racing the pre-runner forever because every time we race a race car, we have parts breakage. And that pre-runner always finishes pre-run. So
that's funny, man. It's kind of like doing stock bike in the mod class, like at Loretta's and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be fast, but you got to ride it so much harder than everybody else.
Yeah, and it's 90% of the time you're more comfortable in that stock thing. It's like an old shoe,
Yeah, your clapped out practice bike.
Yeah, your clapped out practice bike. You're more comfortable on that than you are your race bike.
Hey, Justin, like John said, congratulations on the win. It was awesome to see you guys up there on the podium, the smile on your face and everything, and a lot of those pictures. And when I got to see you in real life was just awesome, man. It was so cool to see.
Yeah, congrats, man.
I saw you down with everybody else in the red shirts with a thumbs up. Thank you very much for being there and supporting. You always do. It was badass. Really appreciate that.
It was super cool. And then, like, right after you guys were done, we just got bombarded, like, blasted with wind, like Glamis Dune wind, just straight up, man. It sucks so bad.
That's true. Everybody raced back to the camp, get a shower, and get some drinks. And then the party was on, that's for sure.
All right,
next day, nobody even woke up till 9 o'clock. They're still up.
That's awesome. That's when you know it's a good night.
Yeah, exactly. All right, homie. Well, thank you so much. I'll see you. I'm going to be out in Arizona in a couple weeks, so I'll try to swing by.
Make sure you stop by. I'll get you lunch. Ryan, good talking with you, man.
You too, buddy.
You guys have a great rest of your show.
Thank you.
Thanks, bud.
Thanks, bye.
That's super cool to understand. It does suck, though, that people are so haters, man.
Well, I think, a big part of it is, like, obviously jealousy, right?
Yeah.
And there's so much jealousy within this industry and any industry for that matter. But, like I tell my guys, they, obviously people get frustrated at races and, look at that. He's doing something, and it's like, you know what? Let's quit worrying so much and trying to figure out what he's doing. Let's worry about us. Let's worry about how we get better. How do we get better? How do we overcome? He may be cheating. Let him cheat. But we're going to beat him the legal way because we're going to put our thinking caps on. We're going to go back, test, grind, do whatever we need to do to get better.
Dude, I love that you said that because that just makes you that much better of a competitor to everybody else.
100%.
That's John actually asked. He said, "Is the rally class harder or easier than the turbo class?" I wouldn't say it's easier or harder because they're on the same course. They have to do everything the same, but it's easier to get into the class.
How many cars is there?
Dude, there was a lot this year.
I mean, what's the caliber of drivers, level of drivers?
I would say it's kind of like riding the intermediate class compared to the pro class.
Gotcha.
So like in the pro turbo class, but it's different though too. It's
because there's a lot of big names in that pro turbo class, like good dudes.
Really good dudes and really good drivers, but you also have to understand the resources of the team too. Like the resources of a team only go so far in the rally class, just like riding a stock class, right? And the resources in the pro turbo class are sometimes it can get unfair if you're just entering the pro turbo class. If you're already at the top of the game, then it's good. You're up there.
Yeah, for sure.
But so I guess it's kind of 50-50, John. I mean, just whatever, like Justin said, though, whatever you can fit in, whatever class you can jump in, go that route.
Go race. Yeah, go have fun. It's about getting out there and racing, having fun.
Yeah, exactly. So Jason just commented in and said, "What up, George? Catching up on the live feed while trekking out here. How's the taco life treating you?" Well, we didn't have tacos today. We had some pizza. But, man, Jason, you should chime in and ask Ryan some questions, too. We're going to talk about his story growing up, riding dirt bikes and all kinds of fun stuff. So it'll be cool if you have any questions for him. Can you talk about the trans in the new PL? Ooh, yeah.
I knew these ones were going to come up.
So are these secrets? You got a brush on these questions?
Yeah, I got kind of brush on them. But, I mean, at the end of the day, we had a couple options on the plate. I was basically given some options of pick what you think would be best or pick what you think, we need to run moving forward. And my vote was for the G-Force for two reasons. They've been run before, so there's a lot of technology behind them that off-road has developed already, that there's readily available parts, and first and foremost, the price. They're very inexpensive, and
well, they make good stuff.
They make good stuff. G-Force makes a good transmission, and the average Joe can rebuild them in his garage. You don't have to send them off. There's no black box magic, converter in it. It's
and the price lets you have extras.
Yes. The price lets you have extras, and the price is very affordable. So at that point, who doesn't love grabbing gears? What I mean? It gets kind of off-road back to where it began with a stick shift, and you got to be up on the wheel. You got to drive it. It's like a dirt bike. It's like riding a dirt bike, and for me that seems fun. And when they came to me with this idea of a class and an idea of a truck, and gave me the options of what they thought they were thinking about doing, that was my 2 cents. Was I think that this is the way to go. So. This is an experimental thing. We don't know if it's gonna work, gonna last. I don't know any details as far as what the series is doing or what they plan on doing. They just gave me a platform, asked me to build a truck, and I went for it.
Dude, I like it. A couple things that I heard on, I don't want to say dumb it down, but I can maybe talk about it a little bit more with some of our UTV audience, and it's kind of like the difference between an automatic truck would be like a Polaris RZR with a CVT, and a manual truck like what you're going to have this year and try out would be like a Yamaha YXZ.
Exactly, 100%.
And so when we started those in short course, it was unknown, just like what you're saying, kind of like a testing bed. But when you're saying up on the wheel and driving, like you could drive it with the transmission instead of the steering wheel.
Yes.
So there's a good opportunity for you guys to learn a new, well, I don't want to call it a new style of driving, but a new style of driving compared to maybe last year or the year before, right?
Yeah, ProLite, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 15 years ago was all manuals to begin with.
Yep.
So that's where it started. A lot of guys had a lot of success. S-Lingers, yeah. A lot of guys had a lot of success with them. The problem with those trucks back then in the day was the motor package was so expensive.
Yeah.
It got so out of pricey. Nowadays, with these crate engines you can buy from manufacturers like Chevrolet, you can buy a crate engine for $8,500, under 10 grand.
Yeah, instead of 40
will,
or 60.
Yes, and the thing will go, 2 years.
Yep.
And you can put an inexpensive transmission behind it and go out and go have fun, and that's what racing's about. It's supposed to be fun.
Talking about fun, we just had a comment come in that said, Jason asked, what year did you get your first PW50?
First PW50, I think probably had to have been.
Dude, we should ask your dad.
Yeah, he'd know better.
Hey, when did Ryan get his first PW50, boss? On his?
I got a JR50 for my 5th birthday.
JR50 for you? What about the PW50?
Oh, the first PW, that was like his 2nd year or so.
Oh, so it was probably just after you were 5 then, maybe you're 6 or 7?
Yep.
There you go,
6 or
man.
7.
So it's a running joke on the show that 90% of the off-road racers and motocross racers that we talk to, all of them have had PW50s.
Yep.
But so you were a leader even in the mini bikes with a JR50, dude, coming in hot.
Yeah. Well, the JR50 was the first one. Had a shifter. Go
Nice.
figure, right? You were talking about shifting, but the JR50 had a shifter in it as well, so started there.
Roy already commented in, and let's see if I can read this because he wrote quite a lot. He said, Rowdy Beats started, I forget which 2 race weekends, maybe Chandler or Vegas. We got 3 black flags. Dang, 3 black flags? Holy smokes, dude, in 1 race weekend in a row out of 4 races. Pretty sure one was when I guess he's meaning Ryan, monster truck Creed that year.
Oh, yeah, I monster truck Sheldon so bad.
Did they black flag you for it?
Oh, dude, yeah, instantly. And then I got pulled to the hauler and got screamed at, and it just, it was a big deal. It was blown out. So Sheldon, we were racing. Deegan was leading, and Sheldon went to pass Deegan and tried to dirty him and over-rotated and spun out. And I was right behind him and had no place to go. So instead of checking up and getting on the brakes, I just figured I was going to drive through him. Well, he turned into it, and it hooked the truck. And I literally, full rolled him over, drove over top of him, full monster truck, and then went on, right? And I ended up 3rd. But they threw the black flag, and I got my ass chewed by Greg Fouts and Richie Lewis for pulling a stunt and being unsafe, and it was bad.
That's what you were talking about, Sheldon being one of the guys that you battled with.
Yeah, we had some battles.
Dude, that's crazy, man. But 3 black flags, and dude, I felt guilty just getting 1 or 2 black flags, man. 3?
Yeah, obviously I was a little bit younger at the time and full of a lot more piss and vinegar at that point. And
Oh yeah, Roy says Days of Thunder being one of our favorite movies.
Yeah.
And Ryan driving the 51 Rowdy Beat was born.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly where it came from. We'd watch Days of Thunder on the way to races and laugh about it and joke about it. And I was 51 because that was my first dirt bike number when I was a kid, and definitely that's where it was born,
Dude, that's perfect, though. It fits so good.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, and plus, the nickname Rowdy is pretty cool, too, because it gives your competitors something to think about, too. Right?
Yeah.
Hey, watch out for this guy. He can get rowdy. Had to go to the principal's office. Yep.
Yeah, I definitely did. I was called to the trailer, and for me at that point in my career, podiums were very important to me and trying to build something and establish my name. I didn't want to be pushed around by a lot of these guys, and that's ProLite. That's what it's known for, being pushed around. So, that year and the year before, and a little bit even the year after, I was just out there. Basically, I don't want to say to fight on the track, but kind of had that chip on my shoulder of I'm here to do a job and try to prove myself, but if this guy's going to push me around, I'm just going to end his day.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the mentality I had, which looking back, it was totally the wrong mentality. I wasted, 2 or 3 years just being a dumbass, trying to get even or roughhouse with people on the track instead of, winning races, you know. And once I
Yeah,
changed
but
that,
the attitude of not taking shit, you can't fault yourself for that.
yeah, you know. But I look now, instead of like, you know, now, you know, people want to get rough, you get rough with them. But I guess my mindset's a little different now, of like, move on,
Right.
get past them, and check out. You know,
Yeah.
don't sit there and mess with them, and don't get in the pissing match on the track. If they're gonna be dicks, let them be dicks. Try to get by them. If you can't get by them, give it a couple laps, and then, you know, blitz by and go.
Yeah, let them be a dick to somebody else.
Yeah, go. You know, get away from them. You know, you're here to win races and be on the box, and you're not here to, you know, start fights anymore.
Have you ever looked back at videos like that? Like, let's just say a video from 2015 and a video of like 2019, and been like, holy cow, my style and mindset is so much different than it is
Totally,
now?
yeah. I don't watch too much of my races, to be honest with you, because 90% of the time just piss me off.
Yeah.
But
I could have done this better.
yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm my worst critic. So I don't watch too many, but the few that I do catch and watch online, I'll be at dinner or whatever, and of course at dinner you're glued to it watching, and I should have done this or I should have done that, and you don't eat your meal, and your wife's like, are you going to eat your meal? But those are the times that you're like, you know, damn, I should have done this. But yeah, looking back, you know, you grow up, you evolve as a racer, and that's where I think that separates a lot of people, is some people don't ever evolve. People don't, you know, grow up or whatever, or reach their potential of what they can be in a race car, or, you know, whether it be a dirt bike or anything else.
Anything.
Just because their mental mindset and their mind frame of how they want to go about doing things, and you know, a big part of doing stuff is being different, you know, of doing something different than everybody else. I think that's part of the reason Kyle LeDuc is such a badass. You know, I mean, he's so innovative and creative, and he's a total leader. So I give him mad props for everything he does. You know, whether it look crazy and, you know, work or not work, he tries it. You know, so I give him credit, but. You know, being that innovator and changing your mindset and how you want to accomplish things.
I love that you say that, man, because, like, honestly, on a day-to-day basis, like, like you said, I'm my biggest critic. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm my biggest critic if I, like, stop too late at a stoplight kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, so I always think like that, like, what could I do to better my mindset? And at the end of the day, I'll break down my day and I'll figure out, look, what could I have done better today that I don't do or do better tomorrow? So I love that you mentioned that. And one of the things that I think is so important with that is you see it a lot in motocross or supercross nowadays. The mindset that those riders have, because the start wins the race, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So, but the mindset that those guys have is what breaks them apart. Like Cooper Webb, for instance, he's able to pick off at least maybe 2 or 3 people. If he gets an 8th place start, he's not winning.
Yeah.
If he gets a 4th place start, there's potential that he could win because his mindset is different than just blowing out trying to pass those dudes.
Yeah, exactly. And you really watch the guys that are strategic about, you know, as far as how much go they have in them throughout a moto, you know, or a race, you know. Do they charge at the beginning and chill halfway through and then put on a late race charge, you know? A lot of guys do that in off-road too, you know. You know, and then you have the Eli Tomacs. It's just steady.
Balls to the wall.
Yeah, but he's balls to walls, but he's steady through the whole main event. You don't see him slinky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, a lot of guys do the slinky and go back and forth, but, you know, and then you have Ken Roxon, who's just steady pace, you know, just kind of like Eli.
Yep.
I think probably my style is probably more like, you know, probably Roxon's or Eli's, where it's just
not a Justin Barsha.
Yeah, I don't like to do the burner and then back off and burn. You know, I think the consistency is key in everything, you know, whether it be life or racing, but just being consistent, you know. And
that
being
makes
consistent,
a huge,
you know, moving forward progression.
That makes a huge difference in running a race program too, because there's so much that goes behind running a race program. If you can think like that, like the long goal.
Yeah, you want to play the long game. You don't want to just play the short game. Like, that's probably one of the biggest things that I see coming in and out of the shop is, you know, I have had employees in the past that come in and, you know, why didn't you buy this, or why didn't you buy that, or why didn't you buy this equipment, and you need to be doing this and doing that. And it's like, okay, hold on. I'm not going to go blow myself out just to acquire something that, you know, perfect example, one of my first years, you know, I didn't have bandsaws, so I do everything by hand with cutoff wheels and grinders, you know, but I had to slowly work up to it. You know, I had to stay consistent. I couldn't go and spend $1 million and blow all this money just to buy equipment 1 year and, okay, now I'm here.
Not like you didn't want it, but you got to stay up.
Yeah, you got to be consistent about it and slowly snowball it. You know what I mean?
Do you watch race videos of your racing going to race? Well,
no, I don't.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I can tell by your personality that you think about what you're going to do that weekend more than you think about anything that was done in the past.
100%, because every weekend's different. Every track's different. Every
Yep.
setup's different. So I don't usually, like, like I know a lot of baseball. My brother-in-law's a baseball player, and they do that. They study other opponents. I don't do that. I think I've been racing so long. I've been racing since I was 4.5 years old, 5 years old, and whether it been dirt bikes or trucks
Whatever,
or
yeah.
whatever, just been racing, that you spend so much time racing, you learn racecraft, and you learn to watch what people are doing and how they're doing things, and you can pick up on it that weekend. You know what I mean? And so, like, to go back and watch a video, oh, he did it this way this time, this weekend. Go back there 6 months later, doesn't help you.
How about something that's a little bit different than that? Like, maybe I could rephrase John's question. Do you ever watch your competitors or video your competitors, or have any routine so that you can compare?
Absolutely. On race weekends, we'll definitely watch what other people are doing and pick up on things, and pick up that far. But, like, as far as going back and watching, like, full race recaps, no. We usually have somebody up in the stands or somebody in the hot pit, that's filming.
Yep.
Hey, and they'll radio and talk to us over the radio while we're on the track that, hey, you're 2/10 slower in this section.
Right.
He's doing this. He's running outside to in, or he's tripling this section, or whatever it may be. We'll do that, but definitely not.
That's exactly what we would also do too. So, John, like, a good spotter can actually see those things. So a good spotter can keep up with you and a couple other drivers maybe that are around you and know that you're getting lengths minus or plus in certain areas. Yeah. And so it really takes. I always tell people this, and it's no offense to any of the drivers, but the crew is almost more important than the driver, right? Because there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that people don't know about.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's all glory to the driver, right?
Right.
And I don't think so. I think I'd say probably 75% of it is truck, is vehicle, and then when you move into the NASCAR ranks, it's probably even more. It's probably 85 or 95% vehicle versus, driver. There are some drivers that can overcome situations, but, I mean, dude, I ain't nothing without the guys behind me.
Dude, for real. We got a couple minutes before we talk with our boy Jerett Brooks, but one of the guys commented in TJ. He said, "Advantage tracks you're looking forward to." I don't know if this is a complete a good formatted sentence, but forward looking to in 21, both series, but the couple bull rings added to the Midwest. I don't know what that means.
I think he's probably talking about Anago, and then I forget the name of the other track there in Wisconsin.
When they call them bull rings, is like a circle track or something?
Yeah, it's small. They're tight tracks. They're more like a Glen Helen style track.
Oh,
so
okay.
From what we know of, Anago is supposed to be kind of a bull ring style track, a short track, more like a Glen Helen, and then there's another track there that we're racing in Wisconsin. Slipped top of my head. Sorry about that, but I'm looking forward to it. Being on the West Coast and racing, primarily the past, 10 years on the West Coast, most of those tracks are like bull rings. So I think, yes, we may have an advantage there, but is it really that big of an advantage of those guys that already raced these tracks last year? Probably not. Yes, we have some setups we can go back to as far as like what we ran at Glen Helen or some of the smaller tracks we see on the West Coast, Phoenix.
Some of the longer tracks, well, you've been to Crandon and stuff, but like some of the longer tracks, like those will probably be more of a task for you to ace those, right?
Yeah, exactly. I really like Crandon. That's probably my favorite track, bar none. That and ERX, those are the two funnest tracks.
That ERX one looks sick.
Dude, it's so sick. It's full moto style, like big berms, big loamy corners. It's, rhythm sections. It's just really cool. It's a really fun track. It's a great facility. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Andrew Carlson and his family have done an amazing job at building a great facility, but yeah, man, it's just a different vibe back there. It's totally cool, and it's fun to race back there.
It seems like it. Hey, we got Jerett Brooks on the line. Jerett, hey, have you been back to Crandon ever, Jerett?
Yeah, what's up, guys? I actually raced back there, raced the full series of Torque back in 2014, and I would probably say that was the most fun living back in Wisconsin. We tested at Crandon a few times in pro light days, and I've been back there probably like five or six times now. So yeah, it's a rad place.
Would you say Ryan was just talking about the tracks, and he was saying that they're super cool because they're long and flowy, and they got rhythm sections and stuff? You kind of feel the same way?
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot more diverse. Lucas Oil, they had the long track where Reno we'd go to, and Wheatland was pretty long, but it was more of like a supercross track where, you go to Crandon and Bark River where it's like, there's not much. It's not like super, super technical, but then they throw down, they go to, when I raced back there, we went to Charlotte, a full circle track where they had good guys that were good on the big long track. And then they threw in a little short track where it was like, whoa. So I thought it was pretty cool how they kind of diverse it up and make it into like a driver's series.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a good combination. You know what I mean? It's what's separating men from boys, if you will. It's cool. It separates everybody and really lends itself to good racing because it gives you a chance to get in there and bang doors nice and tight, like Supercross, and then gives you a chance to spread your legs, or spread your wings a little bit and get some legs underneath you and run some high speeds, 80, 90 miles an hour like we see at Reno and Crandon,
Dude, I bet you guys can both get on with this. Is like your team has to be really good at setup, right?
Totally, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy, man. I can only imagine how difficult it would be to set up. Because, dude, it's like a dirt bike. It's difficult to set up like Supercross compared to motocross. Like, I could only imagine a truck.
Yeah, there's a lot of different moving components that you can accomplish the same goal 100 different ways with a truck.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Jerett, congratulations on your racing success over the last couple years too, bud.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I've had a good run so far, and now just trying to have fun with it. It's just, I feel like it gets more. I mean, obviously it wasn't as competitive as it's been in the years, but I think coming into this year, I think this is going to be the most competitive it's been in at least 4 years, 5 years, because the Truck kind of Pro 2 is going to be unreal. I mean, I think pretty much all the main hitters are all racing together for, we haven't done this in so long. And, I'm excited. This is where the season's going to mean a lot. We haven't raced those guys on the East Coast, and there's some fast guys back there that are, I feel like they don't get as much hype, but, there's going to be a lot of big hitters this year.
Yeah, it's finally like come together where it's like all the best guys from both coasts are now going to be racing each other head-to-head every week.
What does that make you guys feel like? You go first, Ryan.
I love it. I think it's what it needs to be. It's what our sport needs. Our sport needs Jerett Brooks, Ryan Beat, King Kincaid, Kleinmans. We all need to be racing each other every weekend. We can't have us divided and one guy racing on one coast one weekend and divided. We need unity, and we need to be racing each other every weekend to get the sponsorship involved and create these rivalries. We need rivalry,
Yeah,
so
that's a good point. What about you, Jerett? What do you think?
Yeah, Ryan touched on pretty much nailed it. But I want to go where the competition is. I want to, that's why we go to Crandon every year. We want to line up with the East Coast guys and pretty much show them what the West Coast guys are doing over there. And
yeah,
every time we go to Crandon, those guys step up their game too. They're
totally.
they're like, no, we're not going to let these guys beat us. So,
they don't like being beat by West Coast guys
at all.
At all.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much. I mean, I feel like the West Coast guys always have had more hype, which in reality, that's not really how it should be, because when I went and raced back in 2014 in Torque, I mean, the pro light class was stacked, and I got my first championship on the East Coast, and the guys were so fast, and I came back on the West Coast and waxed everyone, and I was like, oh shit, these guys on the East Coast are actually pretty fast, so I'm excited to get back there with a bunch of trucks.
Yeah, and then at that point, touch on like what Jerett, who wants to win races when there's no competition?
Yeah,
like if you're like the only good dude that, come race West Coast or East Coast and you're the only good guy and you show up and you win every race, that ain't cool. You're not proving nothing. You're not proving you're badass or that you're deserving of sponsorship. You're just proving that you're racing a class down. You should be racing a class up, So really going into the season, I think it's huge for our sport that we all want to win on the biggest stage there is, and that's racing each other.
Dude, I couldn't agree with both of you guys anymore, because like the more stacked Supercross is, like I feel like I have my favorite guys.
The more hyped you are to watch.
Dude, amped up.
Yes.
Like I wasn't this amped up to watch motocross or even short courses.
Yeah.
Since I was little.
Yeah. No, exactly. And me and Jerett and a bunch of us have talked, that we want to race each other. Jerett wants to beat me, and I want to beat him, and because there's no glory in beating, somebody that's 5 seconds off the pace.
Right.
You know what I mean? We want to win against each other. We want to win on the biggest stage, and right now that's Champ Off-Road.
Dude, that makes me super excited to see what happens this
Yeah.
year. I can't wait to check it out. Hey, Jerett, do you remember any like specific battles that you and Ryan had over the past couple years that just come like to the forefront of your? Because Ryan's probably got one.
Dude, I think it's like a lot.
I know you were telling me before the show too. You were like, somehow we always find each other on the
Yeah.
track, dude.
Yeah, we always find each other, and we're always battling, which is cool.
I don't know. I got horrible memory, honestly, man. But I just remember back in. I started racing pro light when I was 14 years old. And I remember Ryan. That was like Ryan's first year in pro light, where both of us kind of had no idea what was going on, and so I've been racing Ryan
jump
since I
in.
was 14 years old, and now I'm 23. So me and Ryan have been racing each other for quite some time. But honestly, off the top of my head, me and Ryan are always battling out, but I'm trying to think of.
I know.
I don't know any like super like rough, gnarly battles.
No, I don't think we've ever had like real.
There.
Yeah, we're like.
Yeah, I don't think you guys have never had like a knockdown drag out. I remember one time it was at Wild Horse Pass, and I only remember the sequence of corners from the finish line up into the right-hander when it was going the right way. And you guys were mirroring each other so hard. I think actually you might have actually passed Jerett, but you guys were mirroring each other. So it looked like a what does Vaughn Gittin Jr. do, that like drift
stuff?
It looked like a drift session going through the first 3 corners, and you guys weren't even maybe 3 inches apart.
Yeah, no, and that's one thing that I think me and Jerett have a lot of respect for each other, and what we've both been able to do, and we've always raced each other really clean, and I appreciate that, and I'm sure he does as well. And that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it cool for you guys when 2 drivers are so good that they can. They're pretty evenly matched, and they race constantly on the same platform, and they're constantly battling, but they can do stuff like that in a vehicle where they're inches from each other and still be going super fast.
Have you guys ever had, Jerett, you answer this first, like a race when you have like, I don't know, just a super flowy, like good race battle with somebody, not one, but like maybe you got a podium or 4th or 5th or whatever, but you come off the track and you're just like, dude, that was the funnest.
Yeah, I feel like at our level, we're kind of always like, we go out there to win, and when you get like beat straight up when you're so close, so you're always a little bummed out. But at the end of the day, you were. I remember with Rob Mack and even Ryan. The first opener at Glen Helen, me and Ryan were so far checked out, pretty much in our own thing. And it's just like when you get off the track, you're like, damn, I got second, but dude, we're fast as shit.
Yeah.
You guys are running the same exact lap times. He beat you by like 2/10. It's like,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
You come back to the hauler and you're like, well, what do I do different? It's like, well, just try to find a little bit there, a little bit here, but you're killing the whole entire field. So
Yeah.
it's like,
and now I got to beat this mother trucker right here.
Yeah, no, exactly. So it's cool. Me and Jerett have always. I think it's cool because me and Jerett, and I really respect it because every year we up each other. Like,
oh yeah,
we're constantly pushing each other, and I know I push him to do better, and he pushes me to do better, and that's what drives us. That we want to go out and win and have fun and do this for a living and get to enjoy it.
It's just like you were talking about at the beginning of the show, like elevating the sport from a marketing standpoint, from a build standpoint, all the way to being on the track with a driver like Jerett.
Yeah, and I think that so many times the series have missed the battles, miss creating, the hype between Ryan Beat and Jerett Brooks. They should have been marketing the shit out of it because it would have created so much hype and so much anticipation, like they do with Supercross.
Yep.
The Jeremy McGrath versus Jeff Emmiggs, stuff like that. They've really missed the boat on creating those battles and the hype behind it that, really the drivers have lost out because of it. But I think, if they were to get behind, like me and Jerett, we've battled for so long and going into every season, hype it up.
Tell the story.
Dude, you get hyped about sitting here talking about it.
Dude, I'm fired up right now.
I can see it. So it's like, just imagine that on a mass scale of people getting excited for the season coming up because Ryan's been working his ass off all off season. I know Jerett has, and they're coming out and they're the closest battlers or whatever,
Dude, they should be like getting footage now, like getting ready to get out there and stuff. I totally agree with that 100%. And I actually told Ken Johnson, a former Lucas employee, my second race that I went to in a UTV, not even close to the caliber of your guys driving, but I told him that exact same thing. I'm like, why don't you guys feature the drivers?
You got to build rivalries.
Yeah.
You have to.
Or just give them the respect that the drivers need. And it was so much about the trucks. And I was like, nah, man, it's got to be about the people.
Yeah, exactly.
So
rivalries, that's where it's at.
Dude, fully. All right, well, we know you guys are going to have a rivalry this year because I've seen Jerett doing some pretty good stuff over there in his shop, too.
Yeah, no, he's got his own shop going on. He's doing a great job, and they put out nice stuff, man.
So what's the plan for you guys, Jerett?
Yeah, right now we're just pretty much tore the truck down, got Steellit on it, and pretty much just trying to prepare for back east. So we're going to head back there, early May, and just set up shop in Crandon. And pretty much we're just trying to go back there, build spare parts, trying to make it as easy as we can, being away from home. Because we're not going to have the tooling, we're not going to have lathes, we're not going to have any of that stuff. So we're just trying to prepare with spares, trying to make it as least prep as we can. Scotch riding is horrible, and the tracks back there, they're always, sometimes you could show up and it's going to be muddy. So we're trying to prepare where we can fly home every now and then, where we don't have to stay out there the whole time. So just building spares, trying to find a little bit more speed out of the truck. And, that's about it. We're kind of a little slow right now, but everything's about to pick up. We're about to get the motor back and start testing.
Sweet, man. Well, we're stoked, dude. We can't wait to see it. One of our listeners just asked, where do they find the schedule of the races? He's already got to schedule some time off of work to get out and watch.
Yeah, champoffroad.com.
Is that what it is, champoffroad.com?
Yep.
Yep, and then I was thinking when you guys touched on the rivalries, you probably remember, Ryan, back in like 2009, Lucas Oil, remember the rivalries where, Robbie Woods and all those guys would come and argue with, dude, the amount of hype that was back then. And then if you think, Torque a few years ago when they did the Johnny Greaves and Ricky Johnson, where they were like fighting each other on the track, like they made it into a drama series where, at the end of the day, that's kind of what brings the attention, but they don't need to bring full chick flick involved. But I feel like they need to bring drama where it's like, oh, these guys got into a last race, like bring hype around it again in that aspect.
Yeah, definitely.
Even if it's not like drawn out fist fighting, and it's just like good battling, that'd be super good.
I don't think we ever pictured, that type of fighting. I think what we need to build
he
on
mentioned
is
Greaves
the rivalries.
and Ricky Johnson, but
they need to focus on the rivalries and really creating that type of drama. Like, oh, we know Jared's been testing, or he's building a new truck, and Ryan's been testing, and they're building new trucks, and
what's going to happen
Jared's
when they
sole goal
finally
is
meet?
to go out and win, and Ryan's sole goal is to go out and win. What's going to happen, and build that hype,
Dude, I agree. Yeah, and John Lewis just commented, and he said, especially for the Pro 4 class, there was only 4 or 5 trucks. So, but if you could still, even if there's only 4 trucks out there, and you could build a rivalry, that would bring so much more attention to the class.
100%, yeah.
Dude, that's cool, man.
Yeah, because I feel like Kyle and the Greaves, have like a low key rivalry around the pits, but
that is the biggest.
At the track, you don't even really know. You don't even know on TV, you don't, because they're both monster athletes, but they have a little bit of rivalry. No one even knows that. Maybe some people do, but the whole world that watches doesn't know. Where it's like, oh, dang, that's a bitchin' story you could put on.
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
Probably the biggest story that's unpublicized.
Fully, unless you're at the track like you guys and I was, you don't see that tension.
Yeah, no. And that's what they need to capture. They need to capture that tension and the excitement of those types of rivalries.
Hey, so maybe we should start capturing that tension.
I'm in.
Hey, all right, Jerett. Well, thank you very much for calling, dude. We really appreciate it. And just as a side marker here, you have a little event that you're going to teach some kids, too?
Yeah, man. I decided to put on a little kids camp for 170 Razors. I don't know. I started out racing when I was so young, and I see all these little kids that kind of draw my attention at the races, where I'm like, dang, that's so rad. And I got a little one now too, so it kind of opened up my eyes. But yeah, I want to put this kids camp on, kind of explain to these kids, if I was to do racing all over again and start from scratch, kind of what I would do. I kind of want to give them all the basics on how to approach sponsors, what to say, what not to email. Just kind of go through everything and then do one-on-one training with them, and try to help them out with car setups a little bit. kind of just go through the whole run and, just have these kids and parents, mainly the parents, just have, have a voice for me. And if I was to do it over again, what I would do. There's a lot of shitty people in the off-road industry that everyone knows that, not everyone knows, but somewhere down the road, you're going to get screwed over. So I just kind of want to explain to them like what not to do and just try to help these kids out.
Yeah, I think it's a really good learning experience, especially for the kids too. And the parents can learn just as much as the kids. So you think that's pretty cool?
Yeah, the parents are probably going to learn more.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think it's huge. Jerett's kind of giving back to the next up and coming. It's cool to give back to the sport. And everything he's doing to help elevate kids and give them a direction that me and him didn't quite have. Me and Jerett, there wasn't people doing stuff like that. And me and Jerett kind of had to figure it out on our own. And he's done an amazing job. I feel like we've done an amazing job over here. And it's anytime that we can give back, it's a good thing, and it's cool,
Yeah, exactly. Well, I see you giving back. There's freaking 3 pro lights over here. We don't have a camera angle of it, but you're helping out other guys too.
Yep.
So, hey,
that's rad.
Like I said, thanks for calling in, Jerett. And I'm going to come out and hang out when you do all that teaching with the kids. Maybe I'll do some footage, and we'll get you filming some of this awesome stuff.
Yeah, for sure, dude. The first one, of course, the first rain that came out of all time in Cali was right on the day that I had it. And these guys legit race every single weekend. So, we pushed it back. The only other weekend I had it has to be Easter weekend, which is Saturday. It's not on Sunday, but that was the only weekend I could do. So, hopefully I can still have a decent turnout.
Sweet, man. Well, we're going to come out and support you for sure. So thanks for calling in, dude. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a great night. We'll let you get back with your family.
Cool, man. See you guys. Thank you.
See you, buddy.
See ya.
Later. That was super cool of him to call in and talk some stuff about that. It's neat to see. Like, it really does get me fired up, honestly. Like,
yeah, it's cool. When you go back and watch the video, me and Jerett have always been very, very clean with each other and a lot of respect there, but the racing is rad. You'll see back and forth slide jobs and passing and door-to-door stuff, and it's really cool, I can't remember a time ever when me and Jerett have raced each other and we come back missing body panels.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think ever.
It's so much respect. Let me ask you this one question. We're going to go to commercial break, but right before we go to commercial break, let me ask you this one question. Did you ever think when you were racing dirt bikes that you would be the top athlete or the top echelon of the off-road racing short course series?
Definitely not. When I was racing dirt bikes, to be honest with you, I had no clue about short course. I didn't even know it existed.
Same.
Didn't even know it existed. So to look back, if I was, I started racing short course 10 years ago. To sit there and go, hey, in 10 years you're going to be where you're at, I would have laughed at you and said, no freaking way, know?
Four wheels, what's that?
Yeah, 4 wheels, what's that, and I knew a little bit about short courses. I started getting into it, and I'll be honest, I just thought it was a bunch of overweight rich dudes, driving around these really expensive
I think
trucks.
a lot of people had that same kind of mentality, though.
Yeah, and so I had a family friend, Kenny Osborne, hit me up and is like, hey, I was healing up from an injury. I was hurt. I'd shattered my navicular bone and was healing up. And he's like, hey, I got these side-by-sides. You want to come try them out?
That was the SR1 days.
SR1. And so my first race was an SR1, and I think I got third the first day and won the second day. So,
nice.
And the first race I went to that weekend, I was like floored. I'm like, jaw on the ground, just no way this exists. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Dang, that's so rad. Because that's the exact same thing that I did.
Really?
Exact same thing, except for I didn't know about like the side by sides because when I saw my first off road race, it was a pro light. But yeah.
Yeah. So like, my first memory and experience of like being in a short course was thinking, this is like NASCAR but Supercross with dirt bikes. I can't believe trucks can do this and the shocks.
Yep.
Dude, this is wild. And I remember like getting to the track and going to the fence because I heard this gnarly noise and it was Rick Huseman.
Really?
That was the first truck. I was like, oh my God, that thing is insane. I want to drive that. I want to do that,
Yep.
And, man, just we raced SR1, had some wins, and then, got the opportunity to race Pro Light. And then, 10 years later, here we are, Pro 2 and a 5-truck Pro Light team.
That is so cool, man. It's so cool. And Roy just actually commented in again, and he said they need to bring back short course stories like what Lucas did a few years ago. And that is a perfect story, what you just told us. That would be so cool to highlight in a nationally televised broadcast.
So it's funny that Roy brings that up. I have a docu-series that's being released here, a 5-episode docu-series.
Hey, you spoiled Brian Lambert's question.
Leading into it, man.
Yeah.
Luckily, Roy threw it up for an alley-oop for that one. So,
yep.
Definitely. We have a 5-episode docu-series coming up here pretty quick that we're getting ready to release. And very excited. It's kind of give everybody a behind-the-scenes look of not only short course, but what it's like, a day in the life of Ryan Beaton and the operation and the business side of things and sponsorship and dramas with employees and sponsors and, fans and just what it's really like to interact in the sport of short course.
Dude, that is so cool. Well, thanks, Brian Lambert and Roy, for bringing that up, man. That is super. How can we check it out? Like, follow your social media?
Right now, we're kind of in negotiations of figuring out where it's going to go. There's a couple of networks that are really trying hard to get this thing.
Oh, cool.
And so I can't really talk about where it's going at this
but
exact
you'll
moment.
show us on your social media.
Yeah. We'll do a big grand announcement, and we're really excited about it. I think it's from the networks that have seen it, they're like dying to get this. So it's next level. It's really cool. It's something great that's going to be good not only for the brand of Ryan Beat, but short course in general, and that's what I wanted to do. Going into next season, we're going to start highlighting and bringing other drivers into this show.
Cool.
Besides me, the first season was just me because that's where it started. But as we go into season 2, we're going to be highlighting other drivers and really showing people behind the scenes look at short course.
It's amazing that you're doing all this. And, now you're not just a leader on the track; you're a leader in the whole industry, man. It's super cool. Well, if you guys can't pay attention to the whole show, I'll just say it now. It's at Ryan Beat BEAT 51 on Instagram, and I don't know if you have a Facebook or anything, but
I do have Facebook. Same thing.
Ryan Beat
51.
So, go check it out and make sure you follow his stories and everything he's got going on. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we will be right back, and we're going to jump right into Ryan Beat's story. See you guys in a minute.
Hello, I'm Justin, the founder of Shock Therapy. Shock Therapy has been around for 5 years, but we have personally been tuning suspension on off-road cars and race vehicles for over 25 years. We tune between 10 and 15 cars per day, every single day of the week. Our concentration is tuning shock systems and supplying components that improve the ride quality of your car in many ways. Not only do we work on the average UTV, but we also tune suspension for race teams and professional drivers. We currently tune for over 87 race teams in Best in the Desert and Score. Our clients and race teams rely on our suspension components to allow them to win races and keep them safe. Suspension is a moving target, and we are always trying to hit that target with every customer that we work with. Each customer's needs can be different, and we tune our kits accordingly. Our research and development never stops. We improve our components every single day. As the industry evolves and improves, so do our parts and kits. As of right now, we have over 100 products for UTVs. So when you bring your car to us, you have the satisfaction of knowing that you have the most experience, the highest quality products, and the fact that your car is being tuned specifically to you.
Zollinger Racing builds the best aftermarket products available. Products for your UTV or snowmobile, including billet radius rods, billet tie rods, billet steering knuckles, billet steering racks, alternator kits, and much more. All manufactured in the United States in-house at their headquarters in Nibley, Utah. Travis Zollinger and his team test in some of the most brutal conditions, racing in places like the Best in the Desert Mint 400, Ultra 4 King of the Hammers,
UTV World Championships, and many more. Visit ZollingerRacingProducts.com and use the code DIRTLIFE to get 10% off your next purchase, and join us on social media at Zollinger Racing Products to see our products in action. Zollinger Racing, the best products, period.
Yeah, finally, we got Lance from Solderweld in the studio. Thanks for coming down, bud. Hey, why don't we just record a commercial now?
Yeah, why not? So good to be here, man. It's been a lot. I'm trying to get down here forever, and I wanted to talk about the off-road kit.
Dude, I love those things. I got it in my pack.
Yeah, we're running hundreds of vehicles now running them, whether it's a UTV or some guy's got it in a backpack on his motocross. He's got everything he needs to make a fix right there on the fly, out on the trail, or in the desert, whatever it is.
Well, since I've already used one, I kind of know what to use it for, but explain what it does.
All right, so let's pull one out real quick. You've got your aluminum rods. Remember, they're rods, right? So, light torch, small torch. You can throw it in there or throw it on the rig with your flux. It decontaminates and cleans like, let's say, a radiator. You get a random rock chip runs through as you're racing. You get a rock chip in a radiator. You got to fix it right there or you're out of the race.
You can patch it up.
You can patch it up. It's all good to go.
Yep, just like welding.
Yeah, also as well with that, you've got a brake line fix. So with your flux, you can fix a brake line, stainless steel, and then your hot block, heat absorption putty. So it keeps you from getting burned, number one, as well as keeps the heat from traveling. So it's really nice.
I've used this not even to fix anything, so that stuff works so good, man.
Listen, it's easy. It straps in nicely so that you have everything you need in one little place, and you don't have to carry a big bag.
It's like a first aid kit for your vehicle.
Yeah, chase trucks have it as well, so that if they need to make a fix on the fly, they can get it done quick, and get you back in the race.
Dude, those things are so cool. All right, so it's at Solderweld on Instagram, Facebook, and solderweld.com.
15 seconds.
Awesome.
All right, thanks, bud.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, buddy, we are back. You might have, I left the mic on, so you guys might have heard some of the awesome conversations that we were having off air, but we really appreciate you guys joining us tonight and hanging out. Man, it is so cool to see a working shop like Ryan Beats, man. He's still got the crew here working late, 7, 8 o'clock at night, getting all ready for the races. It's really neat to be able to understand how much work actually goes into, well, not only operating his own team, but helping other drivers build their trucks and getting them ready for the series coming up. One of the questions that came in online before we get into your story was, what series do you like the best?
Obviously, I miss Lucas being around because that's where I got my start, and I truly feel they had the best platform and package, but the tracks they had sucked.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. I don't.
Well, everybody can agree with that.
The tracks they had sucked. If they would have had the Midwest tracks and the Midwest fans, they would have killed it. So with that said, and moving forward, and obviously Lucas is taking a different toll or a different road in this, I guess, process. Champ Off-Road has an amazing opportunity to run with this and do it right. They have the best fans back there. I mean, when we go back there, that's my favorite place to race, just simply because the fans kill it back there. They're so cool. They're so friendly. They love the off-road racing. They know everything about you. They know everything about your team, your crew. They follow your crew guys.
Dude, even in Wheatland at the Lucas race, they were like that. The Midwest is way different.
Dude, and I guess I kind of explained to like a lot of my sponsors that, I don't mean to sound like this, but racing on the West Coast just isn't cool anymore.
Yeah,
people have seen it for so
right?
long, and it's so blown out and broed out that, and everybody's so busy. Everybody's so busy on the West Coast. The lives of, just the constant rat race of the West Coast is pretty gnarly to begin with, but then to like have an option to go to racing, the desert, the beach, the mountains. There's so many options for people to go do and spend their free time and spend their money on. That is racing really going to be the first thing for them to do. So when we go back
unless you're fully vested in it, it's hard.
It's super hard. So, and the price of tickets is expensive and whatnot. But when you go to the Midwest, these people are diehard fans of racing, anything racing, whether it be snowmobiles or dirt bikes or off-road trucks or NASCAR. They're all fans of racing, sprint cars. So it's a totally different vibe. These are true fans. So I love going back there. I love people seeing our merch from 5 years ago. You know, they got hats and shirts from 5 years ago, and they still rock it. It's
Dude,
dirty.
they're fired up. Yeah,
they're fired up, and they don't care. They
wear their
love
jersey
racing.
and their pants to the track and leave it, dude. But I'm being serious because they're the super fans. I couldn't believe it when it blew my mind. I never had any clue that happened when we went to Wheatland. Like I said, it was just phenomenal.
Yeah,
and we were just a little UTV team. Like it wasn't a big deal, and I could only imagine what you guys got.
Yeah, it's wild. It's super fun, and I'm so appreciative of it and being able to go back there and race with these guys. So, you know, Champ's got the ball. Let's see what you do with it.
What's going to happen when you beat the Midwest boys?
Dude, you know, they're good, you know, and there's no guarantee that we're going to win every time we're on the track. I mean, hell, last year, Kyle Kleiman won the last race of the year at Crandon, you know, and I ended up second, but it doesn't. You know,
he was ripping that day.
Dude, he's ripping. He's a great driver, and he does really good. And there's, like Jerett said, a ton of fast guys back there that it's you know, it's a challenge every time you get on the track, and that's what you want. You want to race the best guys.
Absolutely, 100%. David Peace commented and said, "Can't wait for the show, Ryan." So that docu-series is going to be sounds bitchin'.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really cool, and like I said, it's 5 episodes, and it's full in depth. We go to. They follow me to a couple sponsor meetings. Some go good, some go terrible. You know, some totally screw me over. Some, you know, there's stuff that goes on in this show that a lot of people don't get to see every day.
Dude, I cannot wait. That's gonna, and plus Bryant Lambert's both of our buddies. He's good, like awesome at producing stuff. So I can't wait to see what he comes up with. John also commented in and said, "It's cool living in the tundra." No, it's not cool living in the tundra, bro. No. There's no way.
Yeah, because it's like under snow right now.
Dude, yeah.
I feel sorry for them, but I
actually remember having a conversation with him online, just in direct message, and he was talking about how cold it was, and I was like, no way, dude. Being a dude from Arizona, that stuff doesn't get along with me.
Yeah.
And we also had somebody else commented in. Jacob commented in and said, definitely am a big fan of RBM. My brother and I have been following him ever since he came out to Crandon. Oh, so you know, the first year that you went out to Crandon was when?
17, and I won.
So it's somewhat recent, at least.
Yeah.
But you already won. So they've became a fan of yours since then. So super friendly and love talking to the fans in the pits. Yeah, that's one thing you're always good at, making time for people.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for these people being there, you know, I definitely wouldn't be able to do what I get to do, you know what I'm saying? So very thankful to have the opportunity to spend time with these people.
And when we talk about fans and stuff, that's also a lot of you got to understand that before you go into like marketing and social media and all these different things as sponsorships and stuff like that. And we got Alex Striler on the line with us now. What's up, Alex?
What's up, guys? Hey, Ryan. How are you?
What's up? How's it going?
Dude, that shop looks great.
Thank you.
Great.
We're hustling and bustling for sure.
Yesterday, I was getting a tour of your shop in SoCal. Now, man, you set that up fast.
Yep. I can't wait for.
No, go ahead. I was going to say I can't wait for the new show to come out. And when you guys keep mentioning the short course docu-series that Lucas Oil did, that was called Recourse.
Yep.
Recourse is the behind-the-scenes Ryan King, one of the best editors and producers I've ever met. I think he might still be with Lucas. I think he moved to Zionsburg, where the new headquarters is. He put that together, but that was doing exactly what you did, Ryan, by showing the behind the scenes and getting into the lives of the drivers as opposed to the racing itself.
I remember that series. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, that series, I probably watched it 100 times.
Yeah, same.
I know every racer, you know, in forms of motorsports watched it. You know, I know there's a lot of good guys that race sprint cars and NASCAR and stuff like that that got behind it.
Yep.
And still to this day, people ask me all the time, why did they get rid of that show? It was great. And I don't know. Yeah. Unfortunately, you know, but we got a solution for you coming here pretty quick.
Hell yeah. Sweet, man.
Well, that's a great one, man. I can't wait.
Alex, he's got this shop like stacked up, man. He's got so much going on here. And we were talking about elevating or growing the industry that you're in or the sport that you're in or whatever it is. And Ryan's doing a fantastic job, man, because he's building cars for other drivers. He's giving them all the same equipment. He's giving them a chance to win. He's giving them advice, everything, man. It's really neat to see the inner workings of what he has going on.
You know, one of Lucas's mistakes was that they thought it was a top-down racing short course, at least, is a top-down series. That means that it starts with the sponsors, and you let the sponsors tell the series what to do, and then the series tells the drivers what the sponsors want, and they have to do that. And it doesn't work that way. It starts bottom up. It starts with the racers and the teams who do this for a living. This is their lives, it's their livelihood. So by following a top-down model where sponsors were telling the series what to do, series isn't around anymore. You look at the series that are all about the racing and the racers, the bottom-up series, and those are the ones that seem to last.
Exactly.
So I think
exactly.
What you're doing on the East Coast is there. Keep it up.
Yeah, trying, man. Obviously this is a very hard industry to be successful in, and to be able to keep growing and moving the way we are. I'm very thankful, and a lot of it comes from the advice I've had from you over the years, and advice I've had from a lot of people. But just sitting back and learning and watching how things happen and things operate, I guess, is really what I guess has probably taught me the most, is just watching what goes on and thinking of being on the other side. What would it be like to be a sponsor?
Yeah.
What would I want to see?
Exactly.
What would I want somebody doing if I was on the other side of the fence?
And I was about to say too, Alex, you can agree with this, is like it all depends, because Alex can tell a person anything a million times, right? But it's about how you process it. So you got to give yourself a little bit of credit, Ryan, because you're processing the information, looking at it from a different angle, and going forward the way that you think is best too.
Yeah, trying to do something different. It's you got to be consistent in what you do, and trying to do something consistently. I guess not the norm and not the average.
So I think this is kind of goes along with, we just got a comment come in, Alex, says it kind of goes along with what you guys are both talking about. George Egan said the Midwest is where it's at, and can confirm the diehard racing theory. I try to be at every motorsports event possible. Looking forward to Antigo and Crandon this year. So that fan base, in fact, we don't get very many West Coast fans saying stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a perfect example. It's when you go back there, it's a vibe. It's a whole family atmosphere where people are just there to have a good time. They're here to, watch great racing, and that's what us racers want to do. We want to put on great racing for them and have a good time with them. And after the races, go have a beer with all the fans. I mean, that's probably one of the most fun things there is to do back there. We get done after a race weekend, we tear the awning down, we sit out front and have a couple beers with all the fans, and we tell everybody to grab a cooler, and we hang out and have fun.
Pull a Chad Reed and go into Lot B at Redbud and
Dude,
hang out all
that's
night.
what we do. We do it.
Heck yeah, man. That's awesome.
No, you nailed it. Yeah, you nailed it. See, by including the fans and the spectators and the non-racers, by including them, you're making them part of it. And then if someone's part of something, they want to be more of it, and they want it more and more, and then they memorialize it. So every year they know, hey, Labor Day Crandon. You don't have to mark your calendar. It's coming. They don't even need to market the event. Everybody knows when it is. It's been the same way for 50 years. So by
you're talking about kind of like how the Dirt Life show is on every Monday night at 5 p.m.
There you go.
Live at 5.
Yeah, and that's I think that's a big reason why you see these Midwest tracks have been so successful, is the fact that they are the same dates every year.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying. Sorry if you guys can't hear the grinding. Obviously, we're still going.
I don't know if the audio's picking up the grinding, but it's pretty loud where we're at. Hey, so one thing that I wanted to talk about.
Loud. I can hear it very loud in the headphones I have on.
Okay, so hopefully everybody else, so that when the audio comes out, it can be a little bit less. But one thing that I wanted to talk about and get both of your guys' opinion, Alex, we talked about it a little bit, but Lucas has been, taken over by the Great American Short Course Series, and it's going to be operated by a guy named Lee Perfect, who has run the regionals and helped Lucas with a lot of the racing that they've done over the past few years. I think this is a good opportunity for them to start grassroots again and build that following just the way that you guys are talking about.
Well, there are two different series. The East Coast and the West Coast are operated, and they're actually different because Lee has created the series for the racers who are left behind that don't have the resources and really can't travel east. There are probably 350 teams on the registration list, of which 250 would race any given weekend. And those are your amateur teams, the teams that want to be pro. Several pros would race. They would come in and make appearances. But it's more of an amateur level series that develops and nurtures pros as opposed to a large televised series that's nationally advertised and marketed. So it gives a platform for the West Coast racers who can't go to the East Coast to continue racing and continue developing those skills. It was never meant to be a replacement or an alternative. It works hand in hand. All major sports, if you think about it, they usually have two different leagues. And by
Yeah,
having
and I
two
think
leagues,
that's
you can farm east and west.
absolutely, and I think
But
it's
hard
very
to race
important
both.
that everybody understands
Yeah,
that like you're saying, there's two different leagues, and this is our grassroots feeder series that
Right.
feeds up into the pros, and these are the guys that want to someday and have aspirations to be a Jerett Brooks or a Ryan B. This is a great way to get started. Lee is an amazing series director, has done amazing things with the Lucas Oil Regional Series and now the Gas Series. They have a great thing going, and I mean, for everybody that's here on the West Coast that wants to know how to get into off-road racing, here's your option.
Dude, especially all the kids that got displaced, man. This is going to be awesome for them.
Yeah,
to
no,
go.
it's great because it gives these kids a place to race, because without gas, it would, have left all these poor kids high and dry.
Dude,
and
you
not
don't
being
know
able to
how
race.
many phone calls I received. What do I do with my kid now? Where do we go race? What do we do?
Yeah,
So I'm glad Lee was able to pick up the pieces.
absolutely.
Yeah, there's such a demand. The demand actually came from the teams. There was a lot of teams that said, look, what do we do now? We've invested in all this equipment.
Yeah.
It'll happen because everything that grows well grows organically, and it grows over time. When you try to come in and say, we're here, we're huge, it never really works. You have to let time, there has to be time for roots to set in, for it to grow, and then for the word of mouth actually to spread it as opposed to marketing. Like I said earlier, there's not a lot of marketing that goes behind Crandon because everybody knows what it is. Word of mouth for 50 years, they've been doing it.
Yeah.
That's the way a new series, such as the Gas Series on the West Coast now, needs to grow. And it probably will go to the Midwest. Most likely it will head out to Wheatland at some point. It's obviously going to Reno. So that'll be a test to see if teams can travel or if it can draw out more racers in those regions who don't come out east, come out west, and race. Maybe there's some people in Missouri that have also wanted to get out of the state. Late model dirt racers. Who knows? That want to jump in the short course. Maybe we'll find some of those.
Would you consider doing any? We'll talk about it in a little bit, but you're relocating, or you have relocated to North Carolina. Would you consider coming out and racing some of those races out here if you have time or not?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If I've been asked this question a lot by sponsors and fans and friends alike. Do you plan on doing any of the West Coast races?
It's not easy for him to race. It's not easy for a racer to try to go back and forth and back and forth. Brian's being polite. I think he wants to, but I don't think he's going to have the resources and ability to be in two places at the same time.
That's why I was saying. That's why it was so easy when I asked the question, because I understand how hard it is.
We did it last year where there was two series,
right.
But there was only one weekend where the race dates overlapped, and it was very obviously expensive. When you go to a nationwide series, if you will, and biggest thing is the dates cannot overlap. So Gas has done an amazing job at making sure that those dates don't overlap,
right?
To where we are given the chance that we can't do that. My program looking forward into next year, we don't have any set dates or plans to race the Gas Series at this point. When they get to the point where they have a TV package or a really, really strong live series, and my sponsors see fit that I need to be there, then I'll be there.
Yeah.
But at this point, we're going to focus on the Midwest, and that's where my sponsors all collectively got together and thought that the most value was for my program and my situation alone, that, I needed to be there racing with, all the best guys or whatever. So we plan to go race there, and then, from there, hopefully Gas can get their stuff together and keep expanding. And we're racers. We want to race every race we can, so as long as there's adequate funding from our sponsors that see fit, we'll be there racing.
Dude, what I get from this whole conversation is that there's options, and I think those options are phenomenal for every racer, no matter who it is.
Yes, absolutely.
So we had a couple comments already come in, Alex. One was from George Egan again. He said that he can really confirm the family aspect as well of the Midwest stuff. He's going to bring his 4-year-old to his first off-road race this year.
That's awesome. That's what it's about.
George,
right
bring your 4-year-old, I don't know if it's a girl or a boy, over to Ryan's pits. Come hang out with those
Absolutely.
guys.
Yep.
Say hi.
We'd love to meet him.
And it's a must-have passion to grow across the board. Yeah, and Ryan has that passion. You should see the passion's like oozing out of him, man, especially the way that the shop is working, especially so late at night, too. The kids are the future of the sport. Yeah, we couldn't agree more with that, Dave. It really does hold true, and when we say that, we're talking about, like, I'm sure he means it too, like 170 kids, trophy car kids. But even the 4-year-old that's going to come to your pits, that's the future too.
Absolutely. It's the future, whether it be fans or if they choose to one day get in a car, or get the opportunity to get in a car. That is the future, and it's introducing and reaching a new demographic, a new era of kids, a new generation that shows them what off-road is.
Yep, absolutely. Running
And
ERX
you guys
off.
are missing it. There's also an entire demographic that you may not have thought about, just because your perspective, both of you as racers, but my perspective as a dad. I'm going to step aside, not even being the marketing director or sponsorship director of the series, but as a dad, I had my son, who at the time, I think he started when he was 12. Ryan, you'll remember Cole, and
Yep.
when he was 14 and 16. I think when he was 12 or so, he sold hats, and 14, he sold T-shirts.
He was
realized,
hustling.
everybody does that. Can't make any money.
Entrepreneur.
Then he started selling socks. But then he started selling socks, and he set up a 10x10 booth at the races, and he started selling Juju socks. Ryan would sport those socks, and Ryan actually put the stickers on his car, which was cool. That, as a dad, that experience of my son dealing with professionals like Ryan and many others, and then going sometimes to races, not selling a single pair, and then sometimes going in getting an order for $2,000, which he couldn't fulfill because he didn't have the money to manufacture the socks. I remember when Ryan's like, "Hey, make me some socks." Cole's like, "Cool, I have the 300 minimums." Ryan's like, "All right, let's do it." Cole's like, "Shit, Dad, what do I do? I got to call I don't have the money to call the factory."
Oh, that's awesome.
So my son now, fast forward, he paid for college with the money he made selling socks, and now he's a software engineer at Apple Computer. He's 22
That
years
is
old.
so cool.
Just bought
Rad.
his first house in San Diego, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. As a dad, I think there's more than just developing racers and teams, but
Absolutely.
you can teach youth business.
Yes.
Lou Lewis, Jeremy
That's just
McGrath
developing
agent called
ethics
me and
right
said,
there,
"You know
man."
what? I want to teach my son this." Well, I think a lot of the trophy cart dads look that way at their kids. That's why they're training their children to be not just professional racers, but professionals across the board. You are representing your sponsors and a brand now while you have your suit on, and while you're at the track in front of the media, you need to behave accordingly.
Yes.
And there's lessons that we can learn at all levels, as parents teaching children, as children learning respect and authority and professionalism. Because, like it or not, if the races were not entertaining, nobody would go.
Absolutely.
So Ryan and all of his competitors, you too, Georgie, you guys have to put on a show while you're trying to earn an income and allow others around you, the concessionaires, the popcorn guy, the Juju socks guy, while they also earn an income. So it's a lot more going on than one single race team thinking, geez, should I do this or that? There's brands that are thinking, do I get involved? There's,
Absolutely.
Dads saying, do I bring my kids? And I think when you have guys like Ryan out there who can be figureheads and mentors and leaders and even wear my son's socks and put the stickers on the car, it just really helps elevate. Because my son is not afraid to deal with people who are older or more experienced than him. And that's something I always had a problem with when I was a kid. I didn't like making those cold calls. He's not afraid to because of his experience.
That's so cool,
there's
though.
a lot of benefits you get from racing.
See, and you don't know how many people you've touched like that, Ryan. You've been such a good person to so many people over the years. Who knows what the other people think,
Yeah, and that's what it's about, man. It's about growing the sport and helping people. I mean,
that's why I can't wait for your show to come out, man, 'cause I can't wait to see that. That's going to be so awesome.
Yeah, it's one of those things, I always look back and laugh at like those memes, Why is everybody so uptight about helping each other? None of us get out alive.
Yeah, exactly.
We all end up in the same place, So it's like, why try to hold one down?
Quit being a dick, just help.
Yeah, help each other out, give each other, tips and pointers, and have compassion for each other. It's life's tough enough, and we're lucky that we get to do what we get to do for a living or work in the industry or whatever it may be. It's a fun industry to be in. So it's like, man, let's all have some fun, mellow out.
Dude, exactly.
Amen to that.
And we even had, we missed this comment, but he was talking the same way. George Egan commented in and said, you can put money on us being there. Maybe we could even lend a hand if we need it. So, hey, man, he wants to give back too.
Dude, that's rad. And that's what it's about, is including people, and involving people into what we're doing. for me on the West Coast, we didn't see that type of involvement or that type of fan participation.
Right.
So, for a sponsor standpoint,
we saw it when we went down to Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico was huge,
Yeah.
So, when we go back east, it's big for sponsors to see that people want to be a part of that. When you're selling T-shirts, hand over fist at Crandon and ERX,
Yep.
sponsors like that,
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's huge for sponsors. So, our program runs a little different where we got to be where sponsors are at. Luckily we're at that point now to have the opportunity to be able to, I guess, compete that way.
Dude,
but
I think your dad's favorite tool is the grinder.
I know.
It really is.
I know.
So, no, I agree, though.
Brian's being modest about the sales, by the way. When he does his T-shirt sales, he makes so much money, he has enough to pay for the entire trip.
That's awesome,
The fans
though.
love his shirts.
Dude.
Seriously, he does great.
I felt so cool.
Your
Again,
sponsor want to be on those shirts. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's
Sponsor
definitely.
logos go
I'll put it
really
this
well
way:
on
it's a
that
part of
shirt.
my marketing pitch for
hell
sure.
yeah, dude, you got to get
Yeah,
it any way
hell
you
yeah.
can, right? I was so honored, being a little UTV driver. When we went down to Mexico, I really wanted to be able to speak Spanish because we got interviewed by so many different Spanish television people.
Yeah.
I was like, dang it, dude, I'm so missing the boat here. So I can only imagine what you guys got.
Yeah, it's wild down there. The fans are great. They love off-road racing. I mean, it's a bummer that we don't get to go there anymore. But you know what? It's like, you go to the opposite side of the country and it's the same thing. So
Yeah, exactly.
they're just as passionate and caring for the off-road community as our fans in Mexico. So it's really cool.
Hey, Alex, Doug Carroll said, thank you very much for all of the sponsorship advice on your episode, too. Tons of info, and he was really appreciative of it.
No problem. You guys can reach out to me if you need that. Your friend Mike reached out to me. Georgie and I, he and I talked yesterday, and we've been
Awesome.
emailing as well. So,
Well, Alex, you
I'll
have
help
your
wherever I can.
website in your school, don't you?
Look here, dude. We got host Ryan B. already giving you credit, dude. That's awesome.
He's so good. Brian is so good. It's
Perfect.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously, he is absolute the best. So my website is alexstriler.com. Technically, it was going to expire. The Ford promo expires today. Expired last night at midnight. Yesterday alone, 9 new people signed up for it.
Sweet.
And so I feel like it's dick if I turn it off, after 9 people sign up, because it takes a couple days, I think, to fully absorb it. So I'm going to leave it on for a few more days.
That's awesome.
And then there may be an announcement of another sponsor for that. So
Yeah, for all of you
talked
guys
to a
that
guy
thought
this morning.
the podcast
He's just
was
starting a week late.
yeah, for all of you that thought the podcast was informational, wait till you go to his website
Dude.
and go through the course. It's rad.
Boom.
Dig in there. Both Ryan and I have done it, man. You can definitely dig in there and learn a lot. So alexstriler.com, STRILER.com.
All right, gentlemen. I'm going to run. Awesome show. Keep it up. I'm going to keep it on, but I'm going to listen. I'm going to go upstairs and grab some beat.
Thanks, bud. We'll see you later, Alex.
Thank you.
Guys, take care. Later, Ryan. Bye,
See ya.
Georgie. Later.
So we had a couple more comments come in. This is one of the best things about the off-road racing community is the love for the fans. Yeah, and Ryan is one of the best at that as well. You can go to just about any race and see kids getting the opportunity to sit in the cars. How awesome is it when you can take a picture of a kid sitting in a car so they post it on social media?
Oh, it's killer.
Dude, it's the best.
I always tell them, I'm like, make sure you tag us because then I'll reshare it, and,
Yeah.
and they love it, and it's a big part of our deal, It's about happiness. We want people to be happy and have fun at these races.
And you know what? I'm not a kid anymore, clearly, but I love that too. I would love to be able to just go and look at some of the people's cars. There is a lot of teams, though, that are kind of more lock and key.
Totally,
don't
yeah.
let you in. But I love it when people give the opportunity to go look at some stuff, and even the old guys, they want to come check out the new shit. You know what I mean? They
totally.
love it.
Yep.
Open and accessible pits are the key, is what David P. said. And John Lewis, we can still hear over the grinder. Okay, good. Well, thanks, man. Hey, we can't
Like I
stop
said,
the work.
we're grinding.
The work is more, literally, huh?
Literally.
The work is more important than the show, that's for sure. All right, dude. So we've been sitting here for a couple minutes after break already. Let's fast forward to the first few years. So you got your first PW50 when you were or 50.
I was 5. 5 when I got my first JR50.
First JR50, and then you got the PW, and then how long did it take you to be like, wow, I want to do this? This is something that me and my dad really
Instantly. I saw it I remember watching it on TV. It was a Supercross. I mean, dude, I was little, 4, maybe 5. I think 5, probably right around the age of 5.
Was your dad into it? Is that why you saw it?
Dude, I grew up in a racing family. So my
okay.
dad raced sprint cars. My uncle competed in NASCAR at the professional level. My other uncle was a factory mechanic for Factory Kawasaki and Bader Monet. So I was surrounded by racing,
Nice.
my whole life. So
Southern California.
yeah, Southern California. So grew up in San Diego, El Cajon to be exact. So, I remember watching Supercross on TV and just thinking, I want to do that. And I think that's how we came about getting my first GR50. And my dad, he asked me, do you want to play baseball? You want to play football or whatever? And I wasn't interested in any of that stuff. I was interested in loud, fast things, and I thought it was cool. I thought dirt bikes were cool. They were jumping in the air. And at the time I was like, wow, that's so cool. So I got a dirt bike when I was 5, and dude, from there on, it was game on. I raced dirt bikes, my whole life. I took a little bit of a break during, like middle school and high school years, entry into high school. And my parents wanted me to really focus on schoolwork so that I'd have, something to do after life in case Supercross and motocross didn't work out. So did school, got good grades, got A's and B's and had a really good schooling. And then come into high school, parents were pushing me to go to college or go get a full-time job in the operators union or working for my dad, and I wanted to race. So went after it hard for a couple years on the dirt bikes and really chased it and raced
But
Supercross.
you did good, though, dude. You're talking kind of humble right now. You did really good.
Yeah, so we got to race Supercross. I got to race for a KTM team. I got to race for the Motor World Yamaha team.
Yep.
And ended up landing a seat at Factory Kawasaki as a development and test rider for the factory team and doing all the setups for Villapoto and Reed and Tim Ferry at the time. So got to spend a couple of years doing that and unfortunately sustained a what they call a career-ending injury of shattered my navicular bone.
Yeah.
Which was a bummer because I was kind of just starting to find my momentum and stride there at Kawasaki where I was testing, and I was the fill-in rider. When the main riders got hurt, I got to go in and race for them. And unfortunately, I was only given that opportunity once, but, that was part of it. At least
almost all dirt bike riders, right?
Yeah. So at least I got to make a really good living as a test rider and development rider for those guys for a couple years, and I was able to purchase my first house because of it, and then I got hurt, and dude, for me, life was over. I'm like, I don't even know what to do. I can't come back from this. And at the time, I remember thinking, even if I could come back from this injury, I don't want to go race against that bike. That bike is so gnarly and so good at Factory Kawasaki that I was like, I don't want to go back and try to race against it on another bike. I know what goes into that bike. I'm not doing it. And, about 8 months into my recovery process, it's supposed to be a year-long recovery process. About 8 months into it, a family friend, Kenny Osborne.
Do you remember what age you were?
Oh, shit, I was 21, 22.
Yeah, still super young.
Yep, 21, 22. Kenny Osborne came to me and goes, hey, we got this off-road, side-by-side thing, and we're doing these races with these trophy carts. At the time, it was a Trophy Car World Championship. Ken Johnson put it on.
Yeah.
They had all the big names there, blah, blah, whatever. So that was my first real off-road race, was the adults getting in these modified trophy carts, right? And going out and banging bars. McGrath won, and I got second or something like that. And it was good guys like Casey Curry and R.J. Anderson. And
was it gnarly?
Dude, it was super gnarly. Really good dudes. It was like a Pro 2 National.
I wonder if they have
trophy carts.
That's crazy. I wonder if they have it on film, like YouTube or anything.
They might. I don't even remember.
Dude, I'm gonna look for it.
Yeah. So it was It was wild. It was a lot of fun, and so I did good at that right away. And then he goes, "Hey, let's go to the next level. Let's build a side by side. Let's build."
Did you think you were gonna do good?
No, I was just like, "All right, let's go have some fun and let me try this out,"
See, yeah.
And so he's like, "Let's build a SR1." So we got together and built an SR1, and had tons of help from our good family friend Kenny Frost and my dad and Kenny Osborne, and we pieced together this SR1. Had some parts from Weller, and dude, it was like.
Whatever you could do, yeah,
whatever we could do to get to the track. So, got it done. And
this is like the total same story that every UTV guy starts out with now.
Yeah.
Like the same way I started, like the same way everybody starts. Just piece it together and go.
Yeah, piece it together and go. So we showed up at the first race, and excuse me, I think I got third the first day. I got third, and then I got third the first day, and then the second day I won.
Nice.
So first week in racing off-road, come out and win. I was just like, dude, okay, this is real.
That's awesome, dude. There's not very many people who can actually say that, to go out and do well in your first, and especially against awesome drivers like that. I mean, Being in a mod car already, if people don't know, mod carts are like hard to drive. Like those
Super
kids
hard.
learn skills right away when they jump in those things.
That's why most of them go out and do really well. Pro lights right out of mod cart.
And you were going up against some dudes with some serious racing talent.
Yeah, I mean, in that UTV class, you had RJ, you had Doug Matag.
Yeah.
You had some really good dudes in there at the time, and we had like 2 races left that year. Ended up winning the last 2 races of the year, or the last weekend, I should say, and then we win it off season. Excuse me.
So those SR1s, for everybody that doesn't know, are basically a custom-built 2-wheel drive, 1,000 cc, like a Yamaha R1 motor.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a Yamaha 1000 street bike engine.
Yep.
So we go in that off season, and I'm like, at the time, Kenny Osborne's son Brian was getting ready to move up and wanted to race the SR1 class. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right, kind of puts me out of ride. I got to figure something out. I kind of want to do this. I want to, even if it's just a fun level, I'll go get a normal construction job and do what I need to do to try. But
you had enough fun at it that you were like, dude, I'm like, it's bringing up the competitive spirit. Like,
dude, it brought everything from moto back. Like the competitive spirit, the training, the driving, everything that I enjoyed about moto, it brought it back.
That is so cool, man, because that's the same way that I felt, and it was years before I got back into off-road, and it's the same way, man. It's so cool.
Yeah, so it totally hypes you out. So we did that, and then built my own car.
So David already sent us the YouTube link to watch the mod car race.
Yep. So
were you expecting to have been at that high level in the SR1 class as well? Because those cars are not easy to drive.
No, they were they were wild. They were like 200 horsepower, and the chassis were like 1,300 pounds. So they were just wicked fast.
So were you just learning to have like an egg between your foot and the throttle?
To be honest, it didn't even bother me. Like I knew throttle control from a dirt bike, and it just I don't know, I could feel it in my ass, and just drive the car and could feel what I wanted to do and where I needed to go, and it was actually pretty easy transition for me to learn it,
Hey, so John Lewis David Peace commented and said, Ryan, I want to go fast beat. Yeah?
Yeah, that was it.
I think that's an understatement that Ryan wants to go fast. He also wants to beat everybody else, too. So, and thank you very much, David, for sending over that link. We're going to check it out. So for anybody that wants to go check out the link, if you're listening to the audio version on iTunes or any of the audio networks, you can go back to our Facebook page, look at the live feed, and there's a link down there that shows the trophy cart race that Ryan participated in. That's super cool.
Yeah. It was really fun. It was a good time in it.
I never knew that. That's how you
Dude, that was an introduction to off road.
That's
right
so
there.
Cool though.
Yeah. So got to do it, and then so the last race of the year.
Did you get to fanboy and talk to all the guys that you beat?
I didn't even know who they were.
Yeah.
I just thought they were normal people.
Nice.
Dude, everybody, taking a picture of Casey Curry and RJ and all these people. I'm like,
all
I
right,
had this
cool.
hodgepodge race suit and goofy ass helmet and total dork, new guy, total dork. And
fired up though.
Dude, I was like, all right, well. I don't care who these guys are. They put their pants on the same way I do. I'm going to go out and win. I want to go out and beat them. So I remember that race. It was day one of that race. It was like a qualifier. The dude from, I don't even know what off-road. He owns some off-road business out in Orange County, Skull and Crossbones or whatever. This dude's like Billy Badass, right? And he comes, and we were going into a section, and he totally wads me up, dirties me getting into this whoop section, turns me sideways, and flips me. So the next day in the main event, right, I'm third, and he's in second, and I'm coming up to this big ski jump. And this is, again, goes back to my younger days. We get to it, and I just hook the thing right and turn him sideways. And he freaking yard sales, weeds his car. They have to, cut the car to get him out. It was bad.
He dirtied you pretty good, though.
Dude, he dirtied me good the first day. So I'm like, all right, I'm giving it back to this dude. I don't care who he is or how cool he is. But, come to find out, he owns one of the biggest off-road installation places in Orange County.
So you're never asking him for a sponsorship?
No, we're good.
That's funny, though. And that actually brings up, good points, though. And then, in the UTV stuff that I did, I always considered myself a pretty clean driver, just like you were talking with Jerett. But man, I got dirtied by some people.
Yeah.
So at the point when you get dirtied by somebody so much, there's no you can't give them that anymore ever again.
Yeah, it's either they gotta give you respect off the bat, or you're going to earn it.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. And at some point, they're going to learn their lesson too, right?
Yeah.
Hey, so we had some other comments come in. Surf Rat said, will you guys have the races live streamed? If so, get at me, Ryan. I don't know what that actually means. The live stream for the Midwest Series, maybe?
Champ Off-Road has a killer live
Package?
stream, a killer package.
Okay.
I mean, last year we had like 200,000 viewers at each race. You know, that was just unreal. And then rumors on the block, we may have a TV package that they're getting ready to announce. So hopefully that happens.
Right on. And Tammy Hensey says, #1 fan right here, Ryan Beat.
What's up, Mom?
Oh, is that your mom?
It's my mother-in-law.
Number 51 rocks. And then Paul Yaw says, has anybody checked out George's new pants? I guess it's because of the crease. Who knows?
Freshies.
Yeah, freshies, right? So let's just keep digging into your story, man. I'm amazed because I know that the first Lucas race that I ever went to see, the only UTVs that were there were SR1s.
Yep.
And you were there.
Okay.
And it was at Wild Horse Pass. And I don't know if you remember, but where the right-hander is, they had that big step up.
I was the first UTV to do it for all the Pro Lights and Pro 2s.
Dude, and I think this was the actual weekend that might have been that you actually did that. Because
so, yeah, that was my second weekend racing ever on
I
off-road.
saw you spotting it in practice or whatever, like they're qualifying. I saw you spotting it. And then, like, we went up to watch, and I was, like, checking it out, and I was like, dude, I think he's going to get that. And it was, like, I don't remember what lap or whatever, but you come up to it, and I just saw you just knuckle a gear and just keep going out of the corner, and I was like, holy shit, he's going. And you greased it by, like, a quarter inch, and I was like, yes, now he's got it. Let's see what happens this race.
Yeah, so that was kind of like, I guess, like the kickoff moment of my career. I guess you could, if you had to pin it to one point, you know, is that, you know, I went to that off-road race. It was my second off-road race, and brand new track. Nobody had ever raced it, right? And they got this big step up in the middle. And the Pro 2s.
And this thing was huge, though. It was massive.
It was huge, way bigger than what it was the past couple of years. I mean, dude, I think they measured out, it was like 70 feet peak to peak or whatever.
And it had some, like, knuckles on it,
yeah,
too.
it was like big knuckles. So, I mean, it was big. And for me, it just looked like a dirt bike jump, you know? But, like, the practice before went out, and it was like Pro 2s and Pro Lights, and we were the last to practice. And I'm like, did any of those guys jump that thing? And they're like, no, dude, it's wild. It's too big. I don't think anybody's going to do it. And I remember coming out first lap, and I'm like, dude, I got this thing.
But everybody else in the UTVs wasn't even, like, thinking about it.
No, nobody was even thinking about it. And I just remember, like, coming up to it, like, and I had the roll speed out of the corner. I'm like, okay, if I, like, get it through the corner and I grab a gear and just leave her legged, I think I can double this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I got a cage around me. What am I scared of? I've grown up crashing because I don't have a cage around me. Now I got a cage around me.
But
Let's
if
go
I do
for
it, then I got another advantage. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So I'm like, okay, and here, hopefully I can win this weekend and sweep this weekend.
Yeah.
Because at the time I was thinking about making my house payment, and I'm like, dude, if I win this weekend, it's like $800, and I can.
I got this.
Yeah, I can make my house payment. Sick. I got to grease this jump, right? So, so I come around the next practice, and I just, dude, I sent it, and I greased it perfect, and I remember like every track worker running to the edge of the track, like throwing their hands up, just going wild. Like
I think they might have been waiting for you to like not get there, and then you got there, and they were like, yes!
Yeah. Everybody just started cheering and going crazy. So it was pretty epic. And then from that moment on, it was like always everybody, oh, you were the kid that jumped the double in the side by side before any of the Pro 2s did it.
And I was one of the fans in the stands, and I remember everybody going, "What?
Yeah,
like holy shit! I can't believe a UTV did that."
Yeah, it was like next level.
Hey, so we're going to talk about a little bit about what you do in the next part of your career. But George Egan commented in, and he said you guys both went into off-road from motocross. But what do you give as advice from somebody that wants to do it, that hasn't raced motocross or done any professional off-road racing to get into it?
Get to a race, man. Come check it out. Ask a lot of questions. Excuse me.
Yeah,
ask a lot of questions and just check it out. I mean, I always think and point people towards the UTV class.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a relatively affordable class. It gets your feet
competitive
wet.
as hell.
It's competitive as hell. And you still get to throw a slide in a car and jump in a car.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's a great stepping stone to get your feet wet and learn. And then at that point you decide, okay, do I want to go for it? And do I want to step up and go big, or do I want to keep just having fun? And this is where, my means are at, and I'm happy to just be able to race a car.
Yeah, and you can just figure out your level, like Ryan said. That's probably one of the best pieces of advice is figure out your level quickly. Like, know if you're going to do this to become a professional because you're going to empty your wallet very quickly.
Yeah.
Or if you just want to do it on the weekends for fun and just be a weekend warrior, because that's totally fine too, and you'll still have a really, really good time. And also, maybe to add on to it, is find some local series that aren't maybe in a professional series and try to do it that way.
And even at that, come to the professional series and ask questions.
Yeah.
Walk up to guys like me and just say, hey, man, I love this. What do I do to get into it? What do you think the best route is? And to be honest, I think it's side-by-side. But I think that's probably the part that bums me out is people aren't open to talk about it. A lot of people don't want to discuss how hard it is, where it's like – they don't want to share how to do this,
right.
And for me, it's like the more the better, the more the merrier. Let's get as many people out here racing as we can because we need it. And it's just cool. It's a cool sport. I want people to enjoy this thing. And I think it's cool sport, motorsport in the world, bar none.
Absolutely.
Like it's badass,
It's like MMA, but with a truck.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that statement of having an open line of communication. I remember when we first started racing and I went up and asked people questions, and I got every answer under the sun, right? Like, I always remember this, like, just like use 30 pounds of air in your tires is less rolling resistance, or stupid answers like that. I'm like, all right, thanks, dickhead. Like, I'm clearly not going to run that, and thank you very much for being an asshole. Like, so I knew from the day that I set foot at the short course track that I was going to be the exact opposite, similar to what you were. I was going to invite everybody to my pits. Any driver that had any questions, needed any parts, anything, I was going to do my best to help them.
Yep.
Because every single person on the track was there to have the same amount of fun as I was.
Exactly, and that's what it's about. Again, none of us get out alive, so let's have some fun while we're here and enjoy it,
That's some of the best advice, dude. So go check out your local series, or even like Ryan said, go ask as many questions as possible at the professional series. If you're in the Midwest, George, dude, go over and ask Ryan.
Come hang out, man. We love to see fans come by the pits, and we make time for them to chat and have conversations about, it's a great sport that we love.
They were telling us all about it on the radio. I think David was talking about when you grease that step up. Dude, that was still like one of the sickest things. I don't think I would have been as amped on off-road had I not gone to that race and see you do that.
That's cool.
It is pretty cool.
I appreciate that. That's cool. I'm glad I could make it.
Yeah. Casey Curry was the one that got me to go out there, too.
Really?
Yeah. So I actually did all of Casey's media and stuff, like websites and stuff like that. That's how I kind of got into it. And he invited me to go test in his Pro Light one day because I was like, no, off-road looks kind of cool. And I haven't ridden a dirt bike or done anything in 10 years, so I might as well see what's up.
For sure.
And he's like, yeah, go check out a race first. And what do you know?
Yeah, that's awesome.
You guys were already past the UTVs. Let's see. Ryan didn't point us into the UTV class.
Melanie Prater. So Mason Prater is one of my drivers and up-and-coming hot shots that's racing the Pro Light class for us.
He's a good driver, too.
He's a very good driver. He's a smart little kid, and he's very patient. And
how old is Mason now?
Mason is 15.
15?
So, So Mason was a mod kart champion. Tons of skill, tons of ability, and
your dad's grinder champion.
He don't care, dude. I'm telling you, he's straight work. He's like, let's get this done. So, biggest thing is, Mason was coming out of mod carts, and they were kind of wanting to know what to do, and I felt Mason's skill level warranted a Pro Light and warranted him being there and racing that class. And he went out last year and did a very good job of doing well. And here we're going into the next year, and he's coming back again, and we're going to try to make an effort at getting him up competing for that championship every time he's on the track. Last year was kind of rookie year, and everybody's rookie year in Pro Light's gnarly. They wad shit up and and have rough races. But Mason had a bunch of really good results and good races. Out there that, warrants him being there. So I really think this is his year. And then my other driver, Carson Parrish, he last year was his first year in Pro Light. He'd never raced any off-road before, right?
Ever?
Never raced UTV, nothing, right? So comes out, he wins a race, gets multiple top threes. And,
really?
He had a really good season. So Carson's coming back again this year, and look forward to him racing up towards a championship too. So we're really excited. We have a good group of up-and-coming guys that are hungry and they're talented, and they got the work ethic. And
you're building the freaking sport again, dude.
Trying.
Dude, that's so cool. Well, let's go back and kind of give a little bit more to George Egan's question when he said, what does it take to get into racing? you already have experience doing it yourself, but now you're getting experience helping other people get into it. So if he goes up and asks you questions, you're going to give him a lot of real world answers.
Yeah, and I'm not going to fluff it. I'll be honest with you and point you in the best direction I can. I know the sport's expensive. I know sport's hard, but it's the most fun sport you'll ever do. You know, and so here's the ways and routes to navigate getting through it so that you can do it affordably and do it, you know, on your own. You don't need a 10-car crew, and you don't need a semi, and you don't need all this stuff. You can show up to the track with a flatbed and go just as fast as Ryan B.
Yeah, exactly. That's super cool, man. Well, let's talk about how you learned to get into it then. So you went there, you did that in your SR1. It was an eye-opener for you. Then what was the next step? Were you like, wow, like I got to defend this SR1 or I got to get into a truck?
Well, that weekend, it was like fun. And of course, my goal wasn't to race side-by-sides. I was like, dude, I want to get in the trucks. I want to get in the big stuff.
And at that point, though, too, let's make sure our audience knows side-by-sides weren't really a thing
yeah.
yet.
No.
The trucks were a huge thing.
You bought a bottom frame rail of a Yamaha Rhino, and you built it from there up.
Right.
Everything custom went off.
Not like now how you can go to the dealership and
Yeah.
get
So
one.
luckily, I was blessed with a dad who's super mechanical, as you can see behind me, and is good at fabricating.
Grinder God.
Yeah, and knows how to work on cars and build cars. So me and him went to work that off season after I did the step up, and you know we wanted to keep racing. I wanted to keep racing. I had some success, and we started moving forward. And he said, "Hey, let's build our own car." So we built our own car, and we built like the next generation of SR1. Everybody had these tall like desert cars, and we built this flat bottom, low CG. The roof height was super sleek.
Yeah.
I mean, we built the next level car, and we went out, and if we didn't break, we won. And I think we won half the races that year, and the other half I didn't finish because the car broke.
Still looked the coolest, though.
Yeah, we went the fastest. So it got the attention of the Hart and Huntington team.
Yep.
Right? And so at the time, it was like they were like the super team. They were what we are now, you know? So they asked me and said, hey, we'd like you to come race for us, the rest of the season, so second half of the season, right? And we had some wins and did good. But going into the following season, now we're talking going into 2012, they asked.
When they asked you the first season, though, what truck did they put you in?
It was the SR1, my SR1. So I brought my SR1 to the program.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
They threw a sponsor on it, gave me a little bit of money for operational stuff. I was able to, pay for my dad's plane flights. And
so this goes back to what it takes to be able to get in. Is you have to get in almost however you can, right? It's not like they give you an opportunity and said, "Oh, here's a Pro 4."
No,
it was
definitely
like,
not.
We're going to see what this kid's all about.
100%. So we did the SR1 for a season, had a bunch of good results, won the Challenge Cup 2 years in a row, did good in SR1 or UTVs. Mm-hmm. And at that point, they came to me going in 2012 and said, hey, you want to race Pro Light?
Nice.
And I'm like, dude, I don't even know where to start. A, I don't have the funding. B, I don't have the wherewithal to build the truck, by myself.
Right.
At the time, me and Robbie Woods were really good friends, and he goes, hey, Jimco, or, somehow we found out Jimco had a chassis sitting on a pallet.
Got it.
And Robbie goes, if you go get that chassis, bring it up to my shop, I'll help you assemble it. Okay, cool. So we do it. We get assembled, and we go race in 2012, right? First year of the V8 Pro Light,
yep.
Right? Ended up second in the championship against Casey
dude.
Curry, Brian Deegan, RJ Anderson, like all the biggest names. RJ ended up winning the championship that year, but I ended up second. And from then it just snowballed, dude. It's like
that's
game
so
on.
Cool, though. That season must have been such a big learning curve for the whole program, though.
Dude, it was super gnarly because we didn't know nothing. My dad came from circle track racing. My uncle came from circle track racing. They understand cars and how they work, but
they're only doing what you tell them, I'm sure.
Yes, they're only doing what I tell them, and I didn't know that. I'm starting to learn about the car and vehicle and learn how to fabricate and learn setups and stuff like that. But I didn't, dude. I was a dirt bike rider. I didn't really know shit,
Yeah.
So
you know what it feels like in the pants.
I just knew I had a feeling. I'm like, hey, I don't like this. For some reason, I go through the corner and it just wants to go straight. And I can turn the wheel and it just goes straight. So okay, learn this push.
Yeah.
They related that stock car stuff, and we started figuring out setups and started learning, right? So as the years progressed, we kept getting better every year. And every year we'd build a new truck, right?
Nice,
so throughout that season, I'd put in good enough results, right, to win some races every year and get some good results. And I'd sell that truck off to somebody who's coming into the sport, right? Yeah. Someone who's coming in first time. It's a great first-time truck,
And build your next.
And build my next one. And so, I have 12 8 trucks now that we've built with Pro Lights, where we've gone through different versions and updated each one and keep learning. Each one we build, we get better at and learn more about.
And even the ones that are old, you can backdate them or update them from
Yep. So we've done that on a bunch of the trucks, but we just kept evolving, and we kept evolving as a team. So it got to the point where I was doing really well at Hart and Huntington. Some of the drivers had a falling out with the team owner, and basically they had a Pro 2, Pro 4, and Pro Light sitting there.
Yep.
I was supposed to race the Pro Light. Well, that season I ended up racing, their second half of the season I ended up racing Pro Light, Pro 2, and Pro 4.
Yeah.
Only driver in history to ever race all 3 classes on a weekend.
I remember that. That was crazy.
So,
that Pro 4 was sitting at up in Santa Ana for so long, too.
Yeah, yep. So basically got to run all 3 classes, and that's really where I gained a lot of experience and knowledge, being in the seat that much during even just a half a season. I mean, you figure, throughout the day, I was putting in well over 100, 150 laps a weekend,
That's
a day.
Is that confusing for your brain to be able to know, like, what vehicle you're in and remember
For
it?
me, it wasn't too bad, to be honest with you. I just had to reset. Like, every time I get in it, like, think about, okay,
clear your head.
Pro 4 does this, Pro 2 does this, Pro Light does this, and just really clear my head and focus, But, yeah, it's hard, but it wasn't like, oh, my God, I'm getting confused,
Eye-opener on what you wanted to go forward with?
100%. Super eye-opening. Like, the second I got in the Pro 2, I'm like, that's where I want to be.
Yeah.
That class is rad. It reminded me of the SR1.
Yep.
Probably the most comparable vehicle from Pro 2 to SR1. Yep. So, started doing that and racing Pro 2. Had a couple podiums in Pro 2. Had a bunch of podiums in Pro 4. Did really well in Pro 4. Had more podiums in Pro Light, and then at the end of that season, basically, I just went to the team owners and said, I can't do this anymore. I can't feed myself. It's not paying enough. Like, I got to figure out a way to where I can feed myself and do this. And at that time, they just said they couldn't do it, and they folded the team, shut the doors. So
I remember seeing that too. And for people that don't understand those types of things that happen, Alex and I talked about this a little bit on his show, but there's a lot of dynamics and business things that happen behind the scenes that nobody understands or even knows about.
Yeah.
And all of those things make a huge difference on what happens on the front end of everything that goes on. But you were at least able to put yourself in a position to be able to move forward after something bad like that happens.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. So that happens, they fold the team, and I'm like, dude, what do I do? Like, I got a Pro Light, like, I don't even know where to start. Like, I haven't really had a whole lot of experience with marketing. I don't have a crew, I don't have a hauler, so my best friend Zeph goes, dude, forget it, let's start our own team. And I'm like, what? I'm like, dude, I don't even know where to start. You're crazy. He's like, no, dude, let's do it. He's like, I'll help you put some decks together and help you with some marketing stuff, and we'll wing it, right? And so that's what me and Zeph did, dude. He didn't have a job at the time, and he was living at my house, and we were both just kind of like bumming it, and we were like, let's put this together, let's try it, right? So I sold off some of my dirt bikes and dirt bike parts, and
dude, sometimes necessity is the mother of invention, right?
Dude, 100%. So it was like you're faced with like nothing but a wall in your face, and you find a window somehow,
That's so cool. I never knew that.
Yeah, so sold some dirt bike stuff off, and I went and found a Penske moving truck.
Yeah.
For sale, clapped out, 190,000 miles or something like that. It was for 13
big old
grand.
box on the
big
back.
old box on full moving truck, right? The guy wanted 13 grand for it. I'm like, hey, dude, I got 12. That's all I got. Give him 12 grand for it. I get the box truck and I totally renovate it, right? Renovate it, put ramps in it, put a side door in it, build shelving in it, and this was my hauler. It wasn't a semi, it wasn't a toter, it was nothing cool, even close to what everybody else had. But I was going to the races, right?
Nice, man. That's so sick.
Yeah, so didn't care. So wrapped this little box truck and went out and found sponsorship that year. So I ended up getting some money from Lunar Pages, RBP Wheels, man, who else? There was a couple other little sponsors that gave me a little bit of money, $5 grand here, 10 grand
So
there.
keep that vibe going, but let me ask you this question, because I know a lot of our listeners are going to want to know. How many no's did you get compared to how many yeses?
Oh,
give
my
me
God,
a ratio. one yes to every 20 no's?
I would say, honestly, probably 1 yes to 50 no's.
But that really shows a lot in your hustle, your determination, and what people need to understand means to go racing. Like,
at this point, I was in too deep. I didn't have another option. I had a truck, you know, a
got a
$60,000 or $70,000
yeah.
truck, and had proven that I can run up front, and I can race, and I can do good. And at the time, sport was killing it, and I'm like, I got to figure this out, you know, like I got to figure out and fund how to make this happen, you know. And I wasn't rich. I wasn't going to go to my dad and ask for money. You know, I had to find sponsors. I had to make myself valuable enough and my program valuable enough to get sponsorship. So put together a packet, figured it out, lined up some meetings with friends of friends, and hey, can you get me in the door here? Can you get me in the door there? And sold it. Ended up getting some sponsorship to where I was able to wrap the rig. I got an awning, and I went racing that year.
Dude, that is so cool. And so, like what we talked about with Justin a little bit earlier in the show about haters don't ever see that, right? They just see what they see. And
dude,
that's
the part. Like, dude, you
were
months,
hustling.
Yeah, months where I was on the phone 10, 15 hours a day trying to call people, just cold calling. Like,
while you were still doing everything else.
While I'm trying to get the truck ready, while I'm trying to live, like, eating top ramen, you know, like full bachelor
Never
life.
sleeping. Yeah,
dude, trying to figure it out. Like, college kid, you know, just totally trying to figure it out. So ended up, got sponsorship, went and raced in 2014.
God, that's got to make you feel so good to look back on those things. Like, just talking about this story makes me more proud of your efforts. You know what I mean? Like, so you got to really, really acknowledge that. Every time you get in the seat, you got to think about all that stuff.
Yeah.
Dude.
So, you know, it's when I look back, and there's so much stuff that I haven't shared with people of, like, what we went through and what we did, of, like, nights where me and my dad are, dude, to finish my pro light, like, one of the years, dude, we didn't sleep for, like, a week, dude.
I could only
straight
imagine.
Trying to finish this truck so we could go race. And the late nights of just, you know, 12, 31, 2 o'clock in the morning, then getting heat, you know, my dad having to get back up at 4 and go back to work, and me having to figure out how to find funding for the next race, and that type of stuff just was so gnarly. I look back now and I trip out of how far we've come, you know, through those rough times.
That is
you know?
so cool, though, dude. So cool. Not very many people have that wherewithal to be able to go through that.
Yeah, it was like constantly just like I had a dream and a vision of what I wanted to do and what I thought I could do.
And shout out to Dad.
Yeah. And didn't give up. Just kept like no matter what was going on around me, that was my center main goal, and that's all I cared about. That's all I woke up. That's all I ate for. That's all I slept for. That's all I did anything for was to try to.
You hear that same laser focus in all of the true professionals, you know, like professional basketball players, professional athletes, no matter who it is, like even if it's a track and field sport runner, or David Goggins is a good example, like laser focus on the goal that's at hand, right?
Yeah, you know, and for me, I mean, we're talking, this is my early mid-20s, you know, and the only thing like all my friends were doing around me was partying and having a good time and going on vacations, and like
doesn't sound like you missed it.
Dude, I didn't like I was at, of course you have your days where you're like, damn, must be nice. I wish I could, you know, be doing that. But it, like at the end of the day, I kept reminding myself. Yeah, totally. I'm like, you guys are having fun. I'm here having to figure this out. But at the end of the day, I got to drive a race car.
Dude,
and I got to follow my dreams.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. And then so once you start putting together that program, things start coming to fruition. You're growing it gradually.
Yep. So 2014. I was racing pro light, had some really good results, strung together a bunch of good results, you know, top threes, you know, podium wins, you know, constantly on the box. And I was approached by Brian Deegan, and he said, hey, I'm going to be out this race. I need someone to drive my Pro 2. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay. He's like, you're the only guy that's free and available to drive Pro 2 that's not already in a Pro 2.
Right.
And I've seen you race Pro 2. You can wheel one. Would you want to do it? So that weekend I went out, and the first night, first qualifying session, I qualified P1, right? Catch an invert, have to start 6th, and I worked my way up to 4th, passing Renazenter for 3rd, and we ended up getting 4th right at the finish line in Pro 2. The next night, we go out and blew a timing chain off the motor running second.
What track was this at?
Elsinore.
Okay.
So that was kind of like an eye-opening thing. So at the end of that season, Rockstar approached me, and they were like, hey, we saw what you did with Deegan. We'd like to do a program with you, so we want to be your title sponsor.
Sweet.
So it's like, I've made it.
Yeah.
I got this killer title sponsor, so they they jump on board with me from 2015 to 2017. We go into 2015, we build an all-new state-of-the-art truck, and we go out and we're having a really, really good season. And, 2015 and 16 were both really good years where we had really good finish, multiple wins, multiple podiums every year again. But we just kind of kept falling short of the championship. We'd end up like second 2 years in a row, or second and third.
Going through this whole process, are you seeing like what makes you? And thank you very much for saying great guest, Paul. We really appreciate it. Ryan's a fantastic guest and clearly an open book. So when you're going through this process of understanding, keep falling a little bit short. Is it one of those things where you wake up at night, you write down notes, what can I do better? Like
100%.
you always keep going. Like,
Yes.
what do I got to do?
Just that laser focus again.
Do you remember who was in front of you or like what was happening?
Dude, it was like Jerett or, Brandon Arthur or, somebody that would just barely edge us out every year for the championship, right? Mm-hmm. We were still second and third in points. We were still, one of the best guys at the track every weekend. So this brings me up to end of 2017. We're sitting second in points, battling Jerett for the championship, and we decide to go to Crandon. Mm-hmm. I win the World Cup, right? Crandon World Championship, win that weekend. Biggest win of my life, right? It's a World Championship. Dude,
I launched off the couch when I saw that on film. I was like, yes!
Yes, so it was wild. It was like my biggest win ever for sure at that point, We go back the next weekend to Glen Helen, and we have a terrible weekend, right? Oh. So I fall from second in points to third in points.
Shit.
And it was like just catastrophic. We had so many issues. And
same truck?
Yeah, same truck. And the next week, I got a call from Rockstar firing me.
Oh.
And the excuse and reason was because I hadn't won a championship. Didn't matter if I had won a world championship. Didn't matter if I had 7 wins that season with 15 podiums, mm-hmm. which I did. Still got fired.
Yeah.
No, we want championships only. So
but that's goes along with what we always talk about. I don't want to say it doesn't matter what you do. What their plans are, you have to adhere strictly to what they have.
They have.
And sometimes you don't know.
Yeah, 100%.
Sometimes it's something that just falls on you, like what happened.
Yes, so I get fired. Here I got a semi, I got 2 pro lights, and we got like a full factory deal, right?
Yep.
Full factory race team. And I go, dude, what do I do? Here again, me and Zephyr in the situation, my best friend. And he's
Square one again.
Yeah, he's been on this ride with me the whole time. Every year, designed wraps and helped me put everything together. Right, so here we are, square one again. Holy shit, what do we do? We got employees, we got stuff going on, and you're like, dude, here again, I'm getting kicked in the face, like, and I'm doing good. I shouldn't be being fired for this,
Literally just won Crandon.
Yeah, literally just won Crandon, and just cold-hearted that they were at the time, just nope. That's it. Cut me off, right?
Yeah. I guess that's a business learning experience, though,
Dude,
right?
It was the hugest, probably the most valuable business learning experience I'd ever gone through because it taught me so much about situation, brand management, relationship management, how to make yourself valuable still to that company and that brand, without just being like, hey, I'm a champion. Like there's more to it.
Yep.
So going into 2018,
I guess 2017 too. That's like the I don't want to say the advent, but that's when social media started getting real heavy with off-road stuff.
And it kicked off like my social media was really strong right off the bat because I still had a big following for moto.
Right.
So it helped me, still to this day with
kind of
somewhat
that
of a
gap.
following. Yeah. So going into 2018, I'm like, all right, we got to come up with something. We got to get creative. We know we're done if we don't. So at the time, I had a Bill Sign sponsorship, and I had heard from a buddy who had worked there through the grapevine that they were talking about maybe sponsoring a truck or titling a truck. So I put together the best sales package I could, the best package of what I thought that they would need would be best for them, and how to market it and how to brand it, and just the whole package, right?
And you kind of already knew somebody?
Yeah, I kind of already knew somebody because they had sponsored me with shocks, right? And so, the marketing assistant type deal,
right.
Guy, tipped me off, and at the time it was Emil, right?
Perfect.
And Emil tells me, hey, they might be looking for something, just giving you a heads up, So, dude, I worked for like 2 months on this package, me and Zeph. Worked our butts off to put this package together and go in and have the meeting and lay it all out, and they did it.
Yes.
Dude, it was like, hallelujah. It was like, oh my God, here we are, we're good. And right off the bat, they did 2-year deal.
That is so, well, yeah. Whenever you hear a 2-year deal, you're like, this is solid. Like,
yes.
I love this company.
Yes. So Bill Sign for me has really been the saving grace. And I would say the extra boost in my career that it took to get me to the point where I'm at now, right? So.
But it also shows them too, like how hungry you are and how dedicated you are to your sponsor.
Yeah, so they were really excited about the deal, and going into that season, I'm like, all feet forward, and a little bit of a spite, like,
yeah,
you know,
F you, yeah,
yeah, like
I made it out, yeah,
at Rockstar, you know, I'm like, I'm gonna win this freaking championship, and I don't care if it's the last thing I do.
Yep.
So we tested and got prepared, did everything we could. And, you know, with Bill Stein's help, I was able to put everything together, and we went out and won the 2018 Pro Light Championship.
That is so
And it was like,
cool.
I just got fired for not winning a championship, and the next year I go out and win it.
Yeah, that has to feel so
It was
good.
the biggest and best, like...
Yep. But, well, and not only that, though, too, like, you can consider it a business decision, but just understanding the story that you're telling me right now, or you're telling us right now, you having to face that adversity, let's just say Rockstar just didn't have any money, or they folded, like it wasn't had to be a FU, you still would have done the same thing.
Yeah, 100%. I still wanted to win a championship just for myself, because the ultimate goal was to be in Pro 2, right?
Yep.
And be, you know, the premier class Pro 2 or Pro 4. So I didn't feel that I could ever mentally move on out of Pro Light until I had a championship. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like almost like a rite of passage. Like, if you don't win a Pro Light championship, which a lot of people put in my head, and it's not the right way. I don't think of it like that anymore. But up until that point, I thought of it like, if you don't win a Pro Light championship, you don't belong in a Pro 2. You don't deserve to be in a Pro 2.
Yeah, but I agree with your comment, but I still appreciate the way that you went about it, because it's moto. You win a 250 championship, then you get to a 450. Like, you go up the ladder, right?
Yeah, so maybe that was the moto side of me.
Yeah.
You know, that if you don't win this, you're not good enough, or you're not qualified enough to be.
Or you're not ready.
Or you're not ready, or whatever. You know, so I was very hard on myself about that for many years. I mean, from 2014 all the way to 2018, I was very hard on myself about wanting to win championships. And to be honest, like, I had to do it for the rite of passage to move on to Pro 2. So I win Pro Light. Yeah. So I win Pro Light championship, and I'm like, yeah, like, it's done. I finally got this monkey off my back. I've been trying for it for 8 years. Like, it's off my back. So we go in the next season. I'm like, do I go to Pro 2? It's like such a big jump in financial. And I had a 2-year contract with Bill Stein, and a buddy goes, you can't go to Pro 2. You got to defend that Pro Light championship and prove that you really were the dude, right? So I'm like, oh, okay. So we go in 2019, and Bill Stein's still the title sponsor, and we put in the work, and me and Bill Stein go together. I mean, Bill Stein's had my back and went to war with me, just like, all right, let's get our fists up. We're gonna win this deal, you know. So really had great support from Bill Stein, and obviously a far superior product that I feel than anybody else that's out there. So
I even run Bill Stein shocks on the Sprinter. Thank you.
There you go. But it rides nice, huh?
Yeah, it rides sweet.
So we. So we go through the motions of 2019 and click off a bunch of wins and a bunch more podiums and stay super consistent and win it again.
Yep.
So we won 2018, 2019 Pro Light Championships.
And you tell your homie, you're like, I did it.
Yeah. So and we did it, and luckily, like, you know, at the time, Emil and everybody at Bill Stein believed in us.
That's
you know, and they believed in the program. You know, and win 2 championships in a row, and it's like, all right. Now at that point, I really mentally was like, all right, I'm done with Pro Light. Like, there's nothing else for me to do. I've won a world championship. I've won at every track. I've won, you know, 2 championships. So I'm moving on. So
there's really not much more that you could do at that point. We had a couple comments come in that says, John had commented, and he said, that's the hard work that haters never see. Nothing is easy or given.
Exactly.
Well, you can kind of see it now, so don't hate on Ryan at all after this show, because you can see all the hard work that they're putting in. I mean, it's already 7:30 at night, well, 10:30 on the East Coast. But they're not going to stop when I leave. They're going to keep going. So it's pretty neat to be able to see that. And it's clear in his story that they've done this their whole tenure of having this off-road
it's been
stuff.
like, I know it's tonight, and it's not just a show. This is an every night thing for us. We're here till 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night. We get here at 7 in the morning, and we grind, because that's what we want to do. That's what, you know, it gives me reason to wake up every morning and drive and you know,
fully,
you know, keeps me away from the bar and getting in trouble. And
full transparency, I brought pizza over here just because I wanted some pizza tonight. Ryan ate the salad or whatever it was, fruit, whatever it was, and the guys never ever sat down to eat the pizza. They just put it in their mouth as they were walking back and forth to get tools.
That's the type of people I want around me. They're goal driven and oriented, and that's what we surround ourselves with. You have to surround yourself with people that are very goal oriented if you want to win.
Yeah, winners win, right?
Yes. Yep.
So and then George Egan also said basically telling Rockstar to take a, well, I'm not going to say the next word. Yeah, but so George, I don't know if you watched that show with Shock Therapy, but you're going to have to go back and check it out when Steve was with us and shove it. Well, it sometimes feels good when you do win that, but I guarantee that Ryan didn't ever tell anybody to shove it. He just showed with his actions.
Yeah, I just smiled and said,
sorry
you guys bailed early, we were just getting started and getting on a roll. So
when you look at things now, though, hindsight's 20/20, right? And you see the way that companies progress. You're very lucky that transition happened at that young stage.
Totally.
Because the way that certain companies are operating now, it's good to already have your own program.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way things are, like I look at it now, it's so important because, for me, it was controlling my own destiny.
Yep.
How hard do I want to work? How successful do you want to be?
Yep.
And that went hand in hand. Like, okay, you want to win, you got to work for it. You got to earn it. You got to be in here building new trucks. You got to be in here learning and developing and constantly trying to move forward. So, for me, starting my own team, it was control your own destiny. Don't leave it in the hands of an agent. Don't leave it in the hands of a team manager or something like that. Ryan Beat needs to control his own destiny.
You've done such a good job at it now that other people are entrusting you, or I don't know what the right word is, to be able to do that for their children and their programs.
Yeah, and so far it's working out really good. These kids have both had early success very early on in their professional career, and I look forward to seeing, and helping them grow. And it's like, one of those things that they both want to race Pro 2 next year. Yeah. Right on, cool. We'll throw you in Pro 2.
Yeah.
I'll give you everything that I got. It's up to you to outdrive me and outbeat me.
I like the way that you're going about it, too. Is you can have a really long tenure in off-road racing, but if for some reason you want to go on vacation with your family or you want to just take a year off or something, you can.
Yeah.
You have a team. You have an entity. I'm not saying that you do. I'm just saying you have an enterprising off-road company that you're helping other people. So it's really cool to see you pushing the limits of what can actually happen with the team, especially in off-road, man, because it doesn't have this.
No, it doesn't, and there's nobody else that's doing this type of thing, and nobody else, I guess, that's sees the vision that I have of what I want this to be.
Dude,
So
I love that vision so much. I think that like in the UTV industry, Honda and Jeff Proctor's team is doing a very good job at that. Yeah, they're doing a really good job at that. And you and I both are moto dudes.
Yeah.
So we think factory Honda, factory Yamaha, factory Kawasaki, just like you thought your whole time growing up.
Yes.
You saw the behind the scenes, rode for them, and now you're having to start your own team, but you still have that underlying vision.
Totally, yeah. For me, I look at Mitch Payton at Pro Circuit. I look at Joe Gibbs. I look at, Hendrick, what they've been able to do and accomplish in motorsports. And, like I told you on the last show, winning championships is great and it's cool because it's what I want to do. But more importantly, I want to build an empire.
Yeah.
I want to build something that's much bigger than this, that not only just wins championships, but wins multiple championships with multiple drivers, over multiple years, So,
dude, could you imagine if you came home with, let's just say 4 championships because I'm a UTV guy. You came home with a UTV championship, a Pro Light championship with a 1 driver, a 2 and a 4 championship.
Yeah,
like,
you'd be
how
killing it.
Sick would that
It'd
be?
be so sick. Like, for me, that makes me happy. It's not money driven. It's not anything other than just the want to win races and enjoy racing. So, I've been asked a lot recently, like, what my goals are. Do I have visions or do I have wants to go race NASCAR? And my first response is absolutely not. I have no interest to go race pavement. I have no interest to go race those types of sports. Obviously, if it's an F1 car, we're talking
a little bit different. Yeah.
But for me, it's not about money. I'd still, even if I, got the opportunity to go race NASCAR, trucks, or whatever, anything else, I don't think
where your passion
I don't
is.
think I'd do it. I think I'd still stay here and keep racing off road.
You have such a good baseline now and such a good end goal from what I'm getting right now. Like your vision is so much further ahead than almost everybody else. Like, it's so cool to see that, dude.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You would be we're not going to miss you because you're going to stay, but you would be very, very missed if you guys if you did go to NASCAR or something.
No, definitely
So
not doing it.
let's take the next step and start kind of talking about what's going on currently. Right now, I know that we have one camera that's looking over here at a Pro 2 that's all nice and clean.
Yep. So that's our Pro 2. It just got done. We just steelated the whole chassis, like Jerett mentioned. It's you get some mud races back there, and steel it really protects the chassis from rusting and corrosion and stuff like that. So it's important to save on man hours and time and labor, being a business.
Yep.
That you're not sitting there scrubbing raw metal for hours upon hours after a mud race. So
scrub parties suck. Dude.
Yeah, totally.
Oh my gosh.
We're getting it together and getting it ready to go testing here. We had a really good baseline package last year where we won a couple races last year, had a ton of podiums, ended up third in the championship my first year in Pro 2. So it was.
John commented and said, "Don't be hating on NASCAR."
No.
We hated on NASCAR a little bit last time too.
No.
Everybody loves NASCAR, but we like off-road better.
No, definitely not hating on NASCAR. I got mad respect for it. I watch it every Sunday.
Yep.
I watch the truck race. I watch the Xfinity race. So I'm a huge NASCAR fan, but it's not for me, man. I love off-road racing, and that's where I want to be. I'm perfectly content and happy racing off-road.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's go back to the Pro 2 a little bit and talk a little bit about I want to know what the difference is between the motor packages in Lucas compared to what it is in the Midwest, or if it's the same.
So Lucas, or the West Coast Series, last year allowed you to run an open motor, 900 horsepower, but it had to be restricted down through a restrictor plate.
Oh, okay.
Right. Midwest is it's what they call a spec motor. It's a spec 410 motor where they give you a parts list of what you're allowed to use, and it can only be 410 cubic inches.
Okay.
Right. So, they're both fuel, or the 410s are fuel injected. The open motors can be carbureted or naturally aspirated. Mm-hmm. No turbos, nothing like that. So basically the same truck, but it's just motor platforms packages.
And so that was my lead into what products you use. And you had mentioned on the show with Alex Striler that you were lucky enough to shake hands with the guys at Chevy.
Yeah. So luckily enough, was able to meet the guys from Chevy and start a partnership, start a beginning of something that.
If anybody really hasn't listened to that episode with Alex Striler, maybe you could kind of give a little bit of a brief on how that came about with you.
Yeah, I was at ERX Racing and had a gentleman walk up to the awning, banner rail and say he liked my Chevy body, and asked about it. And I just said, hey, I'm a Chevy guy. I got a Chevy motor in it. I've run Chevys for the past couple of years. And you wanted to do something different. Everybody runs the new Ford Raptor body. I wanted to go a different route.
Yeah.
So I had Fibeworks build me a Chevy body, right? A new 2020 Silverado body. So we built the body. We went Chevy motor, which everybody was going Ford motors at the time, and I just wanted to do something different. So a gentleman walks up, says, nice body, and we start conversating, talking, and start shooting the shit and having a good time. And I go, hey, why don't you come in and check it out? You seem to be pretty knowledgeable. Come check it out. He walks in, checks it out. Man, it's a Corvette fan. That's really cool. You got a Chevrolet alternator. And yep. Oh, man, that's really cool, right? So he leaves. I sent him with some shirts. And, hey, thanks for just chatting, man. Good times, right?
Good dude.
He leaves. And the next thing I know, he's at Crandon. And, I
You're
was
like,
handed,
the fans back again?
Yeah, just like, all right, what's up, dude? How's everything going? And his wife's there and hands me his card. And it's a guy whose title is the manager of GM Propulsion.
That is so cool.
And he's like, man, here's my card. Call me if you ever need anything, right? So we go about it and go about it. Wow, that's a surprise, right?
You never knew either.
No, never knew, So moral of the story is you never know who's standing outside of your pit or looking or watching, you know what I mean? So a couple months go by and I get invited to come up to Detroit and check out what they got going on,
Sweet.
Check out the GM plant and headquarters and really just kind of see into the operations of how that level works.
Here's that whole feeling coming back again, like, oh, I've hit the next, like I've made it again, right?
Yeah, so like I honestly, I just thought I was there on like a tour shop day, getting to check something out, different level, business, and really, learning and earning respect of how that level goes, and just going, oh man, this is wild. So he sits me down and kind of tells me what his plans are and what they thinking, moving into 2021 with this, build that they want me to do, right? And so at the time I'm thinking it's just, I'm going to help them build a truck and, basically build a platform or whatever.
Right.
And come to find out, here I'm racing a new Pro Light next year that's yet to debut. We're finishing up in the final stages, so moving in next year, it's pretty cool. Get to be partnered up with Chevy and everybody from Chevrolet, and really look forward to sharing in the fact of them coming back to the sport of off-road.
Dude, I think it is so cool, and for everybody that when everybody goes to the first race, you were able to share a little bit with me about some of this cool stuff that's happening with that truck. You're really going to enjoy it. When you go to the first race, come up to Ryan's Pits, ask as many questions as you can. They're doing a fantastic job pushing the market forward and pushing the pro light racing forward. I think it's going to be so cool when that happens.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's we'll see when they release stuff. I don't know how much I'm really supposed to talk about it at this point, but I think it's going to be really good for the sport. I know it's really good for me, and I'm very appreciative of Chevrolet's support with me in my program, moving forward, and just having the tie-in and seeing a manufacturer back involved in off-road. Really, at the end of the day, that's really what we need, and having them come back and involved and actually be involved with me as the first guy that they're kind of working with is such a huge honor, and I have so much respect for the brand and what they've done over the years that this means more to me than anything,
Plus, you're a Chevy guy,
yeah, I'm a Chevy guy, and it's like almost like a dream come true to have them come to me and want to be involved in something that I'm doing, whether it's just building a truck or sponsoring me.
Yeah.
It's just having them involved is so huge and such an honor that I'm so thankful to have the opportunity, and I really look forward to, working with Bill Stein and Lucas Oil and Chevrolet next year. It really having some good wins.
It's that hustle, man. It's that hard work that's paying off. I mean, there's so many people in our audience right now that are sitting here listening to this going, man, I'm a Chevy guy too. I would love to have that opportunity. Well, you got to put in the hard work.
Whether you're a Chevy guy or not, you got to have respect for the fact of if Chevy's even entertaining coming back to off-road, it means we're on their radar.
Dude,
that's huge for
right.
off-road.
You're totally right.
You know what I mean? So you got to respect. If they're the first ones that come back, kudos to them and thank you, because that might be the reviving lifeline that gets real sponsorship and the adequate exposure that we need for our sport.
Dude, 100%. We got a couple questions that came in. John asked, are the Pro 2s sealed block?
Yes.
And then he lives only about half an hour or 30 miles away from ERX. Well, go say hi.
Well,
to
then
Ryan,
good.
man.
We better see you at the race.
Yeah. So go say what's up. And John Lewis says, bring back the Chevy Tundra colorway.
We talked about it. It's been discussed.
Chevy Thunder. Sorry.
Chevy Thunder. Yep. So we talked about it. We discussed it, but I think we're gonna go with new school. We're gonna do something a little different.
Nice. I can't wait to see it, dude. I love it.
Yep.
All right, so you got some pretty cool stuff happening with your program. Obviously, stuff is still a little bit under wraps, but maybe you could tell us a little bit about what's happening with some of your younger drivers.
Yeah, like I said, Carson Parrish and Mason Prater are coming back to race Pro Light next year. They had both really good rookie seasons. Carson won some races and had a bunch of podiums. Mason had a couple podiums, so it's really exciting to see these kids develop and grow over the past year and really start to live up to their full potential. Both of them are very talented drivers, and I look forward to continuing the progress with both of them and developing them into the best drivers that they can be.
Do you guys have much contact, like let's just say during the week when they have questions and things like
Absolutely.
that?
Absolutely. Yep. We talk quite often.
That's pretty cool that you open up your life to be able to help those guys out so much.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's part of it, really to be able to grow and learn that I think that they need to be. And, basically I try to give them all the information that I didn't have.
Yeah,
all the
absolutely.
stuff that I had nobody telling me what to do and how to do it. I try to give them that and really steer them so that they can be as successful on their own as they want to be. You know what I mean? For me, you're here now, but if they leave tomorrow, I want them to leave and be able to go do their own thing, go run their own program.
Exactly.
So here's your chance. I'm teaching you everything I learned. here it is, go for it.
And have no hard feelings, too.
Yeah,
Just
no.
Yeah, that's super cool, man. I love how you're so open and humble about everything that you're going about. I just got a text message from James Jeremiah. He was saying that he didn't know a lot about your story, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners didn't either, but it's so cool to hear. He said, first of all, you revitalized his level of stoke to get back because he's building the car and he's all,
cool.
jam-packed, but he really loves the fact that you just love racing so much, and he really appreciates all of those long nights and SR1 days because he remembered all of them too.
Well, that's cool. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Look forward to having you back at the track.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see him back out there too. He's building a new car. Oh, yeah, now John's saying I got to go up to ERX, too.
There you go, yeah.
Hey, maybe I'll hitch a ride. I'll jump on the semi with Ryan, and we'll go cruise up there. I don't know if I'll make it to ERX, John. We got so much stuff happening with the Dirt Life. It's crazy, but we really do love going to the races. So if I get the opportunity, maybe I will be able to go out there. Ryan actually has some pretty fun plans that he wants to execute at the races, and there could be a potential that I could work with him a little bit on it,
I'm trying to talk him into it.
We'll see. Time is always of the essence, though, right?
Totally, absolutely.
Like we already know that Ryan doesn't sleep. I gotta get some sleep at least. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you soon, John. Well, let's wind down the show a little bit by telling people a little bit about your new move that you were talking about. You moved to North Carolina?
Yeah, so I moved to North Carolina. I'm currently in the process of moving the shop right now to North Carolina as well.
You already have a place out there?
Yep. Already have a place out there. I bought a house right away, got my family moved back there. I want my girls to get into the schools and really get comfortable there and grow up there and have a nice, life. I feel like they'll be able to have probably a little more fun back there growing up and riding quads in the hills and
it's
trees.
It's a much different life,
yeah. It's a little slower and we're so wide open here that when I would go home, I don't want to have to fight an hour of traffic to go 5 miles, home. I want to, when I leave my work and my business, I want to slow it down a bit. And that place, for me, was probably the best option. And there's 2 reasons why. That's right. It's the motorsports capital of the world, for one.
100%.
Mooresville, North Carolina is crazy. And there's so much technology, right? There's so much technology there as far as...
That's different, too,
It's
right?
different, yes, that we can be learning from. There's just even the little bit of time I've spent there, I've learned a ton on what these guys do and how they do things to be more efficient, to be more effective, and to be faster. So there's a lot of things that we can apply to our off-road programs.
Dude, you're like a sponge, too, so it's got to be super fulfilling.
Totally. And I love spending time back there, and I can't wait to be there full-time because I can't imagine what I'm going to learn just of being back there for more than a couple days or a week at a time. So I'm really excited in the fact of getting back there and absorbing some of that technology, right? It's all 4 wheels racing, and there's a lot of technology basically that we're missing the boat on.
Yeah.
And I feel like, being back there, we'll just keep learning. That, and then obviously crew help. We're expanding. We're growing. Every year we add more programs to our program, and I need more good help.
Yeah.
And there's an abundance of help. There's an abundance of guys that come from NASCAR and top-level quality professional race teams.
Yep.
And I want... you're only as good as the people around you, and I want the best people around me. And I feel like I have really good people here, but we need more of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And we need more people to keep this growing and keep going and keep watering it, And to do so, we need good people and people with knowledge and experience and technology. And, man, that's where I want to go with it. Like I said, you need to surround yourself with those people, and I felt like that was the best place for me to do it.
That's super cool. And I love the forward thinking that you're thinking because not that California is out of the question, but you saw a limit.
Yep.
And you want to push past that limit.
Totally, yeah. And yes, in California, I don't have a 20,000 square foot shop. I'm not building CNC rocket ships that are $800,000. But what I am doing is I'm building a really sustainable sponsorship program and running races and making money racing. This is all I do for a living. It's not funded, by my daddy's, business or, family money or anything like that. Like this is
funded by hard work.
This is funded by hard work and dedication and preparation.
Man, I love that. And I know that a lot of our audience loves that, man, because every single one of them out there that wants to go racing, we've got so many people that ask questions. That's how you do it, man. You just do it with the dream, hard work, and just keep going. So a couple things that we've already said. People can reach you at RyanBeat51 on Instagram. So RyanBeat 51 on Instagram. And maybe you could give a shout out to some of your sponsors now too, because they can see them in the back as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Bill Stein, Lucas Oil, Vision Wheel, Chevrolet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that really support this program. Steal It, PPG, Everfilt. We just have a lot of good people in this program that, have jumped on more than willingly and said, we want to be with you for years. We want to be with you 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the road. And I have some new sponsors that I can't quite announce yet that I'm really excited to partner with and announce that we're going to be announcing here pretty quick. But
So we'll be able to see them on social media,
Yep,
though?
yep. You'll be able to see it on social media as soon as we do it. That's part of what we got in the plans of this next week. We're doing some photo shoots and some video stuff that we're going to release. And, dude, we're really excited. Like I said, our program's growing in a time where it's hard to grow in. And our sponsors are happy and people are happy around us, and we're happy. That's the most important thing. And, without the help of all these people involved, like I said, Chevrolet Bilstein, Lucas Oil, dude, just everybody that supported this program, Vision Wheel.
And they all support the program because you have such solid people on the program, too. I mean, like, your dad just dropped something back there, but he's been literally grinding away.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's what Bilstein expects of us. That's what Chevrolet expects of us. They expect us to work hard enough so that we can go out and be the best we can be, and that's what we want to do.
Yeah, your product is your team, so you're only as good as your product, right?
Yep.
That's awesome, dude. Well, first of all, you killed it on the interview tonight. I really appreciate you hanging in there at the first part and talking shop with all of us. If you guys have any questions, always feel free to reach out to Ryan. He's
please do.
He's a wealth of knowledge, and clearly he's willing to share it with you guys, so it's super cool. Are you excited to race Dirt City this year?
Absolutely. I looked at it last year. That's the track I couldn't think of earlier when we were talking about it, so I apologize for that. But, yeah, I really look forward to it. It looks fun.
That's the circle, like tight track?
Yeah, the bull ring, what somebody called it, a bull ring. I do look forward to it. It's probably more of like a Glen Helen-style track. I'm a fan of more of the bigger tracks, if you will, but I think it'll still be fun.
Dude, when you can get a flowy track, it's the best.
Yeah, it's so fun. But at the end of the day, as long as there's fans there and if people are smiling, I don't care. I'll race wherever.
Yeah, exactly. How's your hospitality area? People come up and hang out?
Oh, yeah, killer. Like, we have a big hospitality area, and we love having everybody there and come by, and they can check out, obviously, the merch. And we usually make it pretty accessible where the fans walk up and they can see everything right there. We don't hide nothing back, and we really want to make it fan interactive so that everybody can be around and be in.
Dude, we can't wait to see you do good this year, man. You killed it on the interview,
sure,
and you're going
buddy.
to kill it this year.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for all your hard work, too, and propelling the off-road industry. We really appreciate it as fans. So if you guys have any questions, like I said, reach out to Ryan anytime. We want to thank all of our sponsors as well. We want to thank KMC Wheels, EFX Tires, Zollinger Racing Products, Shock Therapy. Thanks, Justin, for coming on. And thank you to Solderweld and Cryoheat as well. All of them are making the show stay alive. Thank you to Jerett Brooks for coming on. Thank you to Alex Striler for coming on. And thank you again, Justin, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. I can tell you right now, Ryan's going to have a very, very successful future, and all of his athletes are as well, or all of his drivers. So if you guys have any questions for us, you can always reach us on iTunes. You can go on Spotify, all the podcast networks. You can hit us up on Facebook and Instagram, and we'll answer your questions as much as possible. Again, thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys later.
Good hanging out, guys.
Thanks for listening to The Dirt Life Show.